Yes, good. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, boys and girls. You are watching the Marcia Week Show, and we're coming to you live from Barbados. And this is the flag of Barbados. You just heard the national anthem of Barbados. I want to say a big, big welcome and good evening to everybody who's joined. I can see that there's so many of you who are already on, and I mean, this is an exciting night. Sanchez, good evening, good evening, good evening. Listen, I need to start at the very top. Monica Ince, good evening, Monica. How is Monica doing? How is Monica Ince doing? Good evening, Lucinda. Judy Jilks. Hey, Judy, I saw you were on from so early. Queen D. Oh, my Lord. Everybody, Teroni, good evening. Marcia Milia. Hey, Marcia. How are you doing? Ryan Rock. Mildred Ben, good evening. Daniel, good evening. Patricia Green, good evening. Lori Bob, how are you doing, Lori? Oh my goodness, why am I sweating like this? Why am I sweating? Oh goodness. Oh, who else is there? Beverly. Marcia, good evening. Tony Paris, good evening. Jacqueline Allen, good evening. Oh, Pauline Maynard, good evening, Pauline. And I think you sent some, oops, I can't say that. I'm sorry. All right. Sharon Innes, good evening. Sir Dale Warrell, good evening. Diana Husbands, good evening. Praise, hi, Praise. Sandra Watkins, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Did I say Sharon Innes? I hope I did. Sir Alfred Benjamin from Brooklyn, New York. And Bajan Brit, I suspect from Britain, from the UK. Ah, wonderful. Good night. I hope I didn't miss anybody. A pleasant good evening to everybody. Listen, tonight, I am telling you, we have some amazing topics tonight. I don't know if Dave has them right there, the two graphics that he can put up on the screen for us. Yes, tonight is going to be hot. I was here sitting down quite fine. I don't know why I start to sweat like this. It is a hot night, a hot night, a hot night. Yes, 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 yes. Hot, 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 hot. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm hoping that everybody here that you had an amazing day. Did you have a great day today? Did you have doors open for you today? Did you have miracles today? Anybody out there had miracles today? Did you have an amazing day? Well, tonight, these are topics and some questions that we have for you tonight. And I say to you guys, if you're like me, I write out my books. I say get some books. Get some books. Marcia said she had a miraculous day. Wonderful. Tonight we're going to talk about the bloated voters list. We have some questions for the Electoral and Boundaries Commission of Barbados. And we have some questions for you, because elections are around the corner. Believe you me when I tell you that. They are putting everything in place. Everything is in place already. Is your name on the list? Is your name on the list? If your name is not on the list, how are you going to vote? Why does the Electoral and Boundaries Commission face accusations of keeping a bloated voter list? We're hearing people are complaining that they're still finding people on the voters list that were dead 14 years ago. So we're going to talk about that, especially Apostle Canterbury is going to be speaking about that tonight. We're going to also look at CARIFESTA spending and look at what has happened to the environment. We're going to talk about some mahogany trees. We're going to get into that very, very soon. Actual spend for CARIFESTA. What was the real cost? Should citizens demand a full accounting of expenditure and environmental trade-offs? Should that happen? Yeah? How many of you believe that that we should have a full accounting of the expenditure and any environmental trade-offs? And why we're talking about environmental trade-offs, people, it's because it is alleged that trees were cut down. Mahogany trees were felled. It is believed to put up the car park that we saw. I'm going to get Dave to show you that a little bit more, right? And then, so we're going to talk about that. There's another one, Dave, if you could put up that second one as soon as you're able to. We want to talk about the nurses. The nurses at the Geriatric Hospital, we want to speak about them. We want to speak about the prison officers that have been owed their hazard pay for 5 years now. Nurses owed for 5 years. Their hazard pay. The prison officers owed for 5 years. The police officers owed for 5 years. Then it's been reported, Minister of Education, can you verify that there are rats at Welch's Primary? I was also informed. So can you imagine rats? I got the rats in the lunch room and all about where they prepare where they share the school meals. That the teachers were using gloves because they didn't want to touch the place because there were huge rats at Welch's Primary School. Those are things we want to talk about tonight. Rats at the Geriatric Hospital. I'm hearing that male nurses are at nights have to be trying to kill rats at the Geriatric Hospital. Are they breaking down, just breaking down the society? What's going on in Barbados? And of course, we want to talk about the victimization of the geriatric nurses. We told you that there were six. Now we're hearing today that there are seven, and we're going to talk about that a little later in the program. But at the top of this program, I want to talk to us about mahogany trees. Mahogany trees that were removed for CARIFESTA Grand Market. We're asking NCF, we're asking the Ministry of Culture to verify whether mahogany trees were removed for CARIFESTA Grand Market. And you might ask, why is that so important? If you go online and you ask Google if mahogany trees in Barbados, if they're endangered, it's going to tell you yes. It's going to say it's endangered. There's some other places that will tell you that it is a little lower than, being endangered. But if you go to Google, it's going to tell you that the mahogany trees is beautiful, strong trees are endangered. You see how beautiful they are? And so my question tonight to those of you who are watching from the National Cultural Foundation and the Ministry of Culture, did you cut down any mahogany trees to lay the road before you put up the tent and create the grand market? Okay, now look at the screen where this road is on the screen. Everybody look at the screen. There were trees there. This is right adjacent to Combermere School. I've spoken to some seniors who told me that they are accustomed to going when they were little boys back in the 60s, they would go into the woods and play there. And, it's a wooded area. They went in, it's alleged, and they cut down mahogany trees to put this road there and to create a semi-permanent structure called the CARIFESTA Grand Market. I went to it and it was beautiful. Now one has to wonder, okay, so we cut that down. At what cost to the environment? And, I'm not sure if the Minister of Environment, if he knew what was happening. Do you think he knew about it? Sharon Ennis is saying that the mahogany is part of her original flora and fauna, the mahogany trees. I only learned that this week. I have to say, I only learned that, Sharon, this week. Right now, this is the structure that was put into place. The question is, NCF, did you cut down any mahogany trees and how many? Now, Dave, if you could, let's hear from the Minister of the Environment. He is Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford. Okay, Mr. Ford, and I just saw him there, Dave. If you can, let's look at what he's saying. Now, this is in 2021, isn't it? It says here, August the 4th, 2021. Yes, and this is Mr. Adrian Ford here. And if Dave could go up a little bit on this and just let me, okay, so let me go. Yes, Barbadians were chided. Listen, I want you to pay attention because what we're showing you the kind of government that is governing this country, right? Where their morning words don't match the evening words, where there's some kind of disparity. There's something that is going on between morning and evening. So here it is in 2021, the wonderful Minister of the Environment, which we don't hear much about him anymore. Barbados were chided for illegal logging of legally protected trees. Remember what I said? Google says they're endangered. Here we're being told that they're legally protected. As the Minister of Environment and National Beautification, Agent Ford discovered the removal of a dozen trees from one of the island's few remaining woods. Where was this? Ford warned the offenders forewarned that the offenders could land before the law courts as he unveiled the community focused Clean on Green program at Pool St. John, which intends to create a recreational area from the mahogany wood there. Yes? Ford, who announced the start of the project for residents, said he was dismayed. Ford was dismayed to find that the people had been illegally removing protected mahogany trees from pool wood for profit. I want you to remember those words there. He was dismayed. This is back in 2021. We are showing you the kind of government that is governing Barbados. The level of hypocrisy. He was dismayed. Under Barbadian law, and Thunder is there telling me in the comment section that there's a law. Thunder said that there is a law in the planning department that prohibits the cutting down of mature trees. These trees had to be over 300 years old. Well, Thunder, you're saying basically the same thing that the Minister of Environment and Beautification is saying. Well, let's hear some more of what he has to say. Dave, go up a little more for me. Ford condemned the apparent removal of the 12 trees from the wood and declared that government will not stand for practice that threatens to displace natural habitats. He will not stand. I wonder where he is right now. Is he standing or sitting? This is something that we are denouncing. Oh my goodness. I love this minister. Aren't you? Don't you love him? He's forceful. He says we are denouncing as a government. We are certainly appalled. I have to write down these words. He's dismayed. He is denouncing. He's appalled. Yes, don't forget this word. He condemns. Yes, all of these adjectives. Yes. I wanted to see what is happening because when we come on here, Jacqueline, Ali, when we come on here, they try to say we're making up things. I'm reading an article. We are certainly appalled today to come and find that all of these trees, the mahogany tree, an indigenous tree that is almost 250 years old, has been destroyed because of flippant and wanton. Oh my goodness, I have to write those down. Flippant and wanton behavior. Oh my goodness. This is madness, Tony saying. I am disturbed. The MP for St. John. The MP for St. John joins in and he says, I am disturbed. Deeply, deeply, deeply disturbed. You see it? He declared, St. John MP Charles Griffith, Minister in the Ministry of Transport, Works and Water Resource. You saw long ago because I think he's a Minister of Youth. He says, I'm deeply disturbed about the level of trees that are being cut down here at Pool. I can probably see him, or he's crying, he probably shed a tear. It is evident that this is from someone outside of the constituency who's using these streets for financial gain. Wow. Wow, this is your government. Wow. For years, we had a situation where this was just bush. Wasn't that the same thing? We would pass and see all that lovely green space there, past Cumbermere. Huh? Now that it's been cleaned, persons are taking the opportunity to come to the area to cut fully grown mahogany trees, adult mahogany trees. I am fully concerned, he says. Oh my goodness. He says that because I'm fully concerned because it continues at this pace that we're seeing, then it is going to make all this work meaningless. Wow. 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 All these adjectives and these these verbs here. Let's get to Dave, and that's the minister there. That's the minister there. He's wearing pink like me tonight. Yes. All right, Dave. Is there a video? Because we have to make sure we understand because they're telling us that this is so important. You see, these are the minister. These two ministers are reminding us and telling us. People like me, they're educating me. A lot of you in here already, you know that it is so. Okay. Okay. But they're educating us. Let's hear him, Dave. Is it something we can listen to?
I'm doing basic training with staff in terms of pointing out how do you look at characteristics in terms of selection of species and so on, look at best strains and things like that. The applications that I'm seeing for the removal of mahogany trees, a tree that is now naturalized, is native to Barbados, and I think we have to go on a rigid and a rigorous planting program where we have to collect pods from what we call plus trees or seed trees. We collect seeds from them and then you propagate those species. The Soil Conservation Unit itself has a nursery, a forestry nursery for that. And I think that our duty now is to get now back to reforestating Barbados with mahoganies in specified areas. I'm doing basic training with staff.
Now, folks, listen to this. Listen to this, right? And thinking of what may have happened in order to put up the CARIFESTA Grand Market. What's I'm by my I'm doing this segment with the audience. You would have just listened to the minister, okay? You would have heard the other minister. Well, I read what Minister Ford said, the Minister of Environment, and you heard the MP for St. John. What are some of your thoughts? Put it in the comment section. Now, Barbados, as you know, has trumpeted global climate leadership. And we know who's been at the forefront of that, even for the Caribbean. We have a champion. Guys, we have a champion in Barbados. We have a climate change, a global climate change and environment champion. The champion lives in Barbados most of the times. And that is none other than Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of this great country. Come on, give her a hand. She's a climate change champion. She's an environmental champion. The environmentalist. She's a great environmentalist. Nobody is greater than her in the world. She wins all the medals. And therefore, that's why we launched a 1 million trees program. Who remember the 1 million trees program? Yet in places across the island, possibly here at CARIFESTA, because we don't know where the trees went. They're just not there anymore. So that's why we're asking the NCF and the Ministry of Culture, please verify where the tree. Tell us where the trees are, please. Where are the trees? Yet mahogany trees have been felled. Tonight we're asking, why would a government encourage planting 1 million trees, Barbados, then oversee the removal of centuries of these old specimens? Who benefits from this? And who pays the price? We've seen where the ministry was concerned about the 12 were removed from Pool St. John, April 2021, and they were so concerned. They were dismayed. They denounced it. They were appalled. They were condemned. Oh, they called it flippant behavior, wanton behavior, meaningless behavior, and they were deeply disturbed. That's what they said. The question is, did you cut mahogany trees down to put up the CARIFESTA Grand Market? How many did you cut down? Where are the trees? Where are the trees? You built out new roads, stages, large tents of the Grand Market. Did you clear the land? If we go back and we look at pictures from that era, we would see large mature trees. Now, the other irony of this is that when they were advertising CARIFESTA, if we can locate it tonight, they emphasized sustainability and a green element. Right? That's the dichotomy there. That's the hypocrisy there. The direct official reporting or advertising, they were talking about sustainability and the green element. $1 million trees initiative started in 2019. According to the research says that up to close to 600,000 trees were planted. How many did you cut down? How many did you cut down? Did you cut down mahogany trees, and how many? And the reason that we were planting, how many of you know the reasons we were planting the mahogany, planting the trees? It was just trees we were planting. 1 million trees initiative started in 2019. We wanted to increase resilience, food security, carbon sequestration. Our program was considered internationally as a flagship climate action. Let me tie up the words. Now, we don't know what it costs usually. We don't know how much it cost us to do this. And so we're asking these questions tonight. Let me try and read some of your comments. No, you're saying it's illegal to cut those trees down. No. For the government. Remember the government that we have in here, they do whatever they want to do. Remember, Daniel, you remember that? Marvin, that's a question. Did they cut down trees hundreds of years ago for 1 week event? They're saying one thing on the global stage and it doesn't reflect the behavior at home. It's another one of those. Wasn't the prime minister in Africa talking about some water development and all? I can't remember all of it. And most people today messaging from St. Joseph, they don't have the water. Sometimes no water for 3 days. She forgets the brown water here. I want us to see for ourselves, right? The character of the kind of people that are leading us. Lack of integrity is what I want to show you. Because we have not yet heard the outrage from the Minister of Environment. Why isn't he dismayed? Why isn't he denouncing this as he did about the 12, I can't put 12 on the other two hands. The 12 trees that they said were mahogany trees cut down at Pool. If they were to cut down trees, don't you think that there would be more than 12 mahogany trees that they cut down to put up the CARIFESTA grand market? I went there and I tell you, it was spectacular. The road was so beautiful. I wish that beautiful road was in St. Joseph and in St. John. You remember the whole pothole, the whole thing, and people falling down on the inside of there? You all remember that? I see my guest coming in here, but I'm going to ask her for 2 minutes here to ask some more questions of this government, because there's some things that we want to know, and I'm just going to take 2 minutes to ask them these questions because I don't understand. Listen, on behalf of the people of Barbados, we are requesting copies of the government of the environmental impact assessments, tree inventories, and permit applications relating to land clearing for CARIFESTA Grand Market and associated infrastructure. Remember, there's a law against it. So we are asking, where was the environmental impact assessment? Where's that report? We want a copy of that. We want a copy of the tree inventories. We want the permit applications. NCF and Ministry of Culture. We want the permit applications relating to the land clear, because we know you clear land. We want a line item according to all funds allocated and spent to date on the 1 Million Trees Initiative. Did you get any donor grant or any funds and disbursements? And you know what? We're going to write the Ministry of Culture. I'm serious. I've started that letter. We're going to write them because this is a very serious issue that I actually think we need to send some letters outside of Barbados. Don't you all think so? I think we need to send some letters outside of Barbados. Let me see what my guests are saying. Yes, where the Future Center Trust? Where's the NCC director? Huh? Where is planning and development? But then, the prime minister, you forgot. The prime minister is in charge. Isn't she the minister over planning and development? So who are we going to report to? We can't report her. Yes, I heard we have a note from Ms. McLean on the trees. What's the note, Dave? You can put it up or send me. That's the note. Yes, there are penalties for cutting down mature mahogany trees in Barbados without a permit. So that's why we're asking, can you show the public the permits? We want to see your permits, as these are considered protected trees under the Trees Preservation Act. Under this law, anyone who kills a tree without a permit from the chief town planner, but isn't the prime minister in charge of that, is committing an offense and can be subject to a fine of $1,000 or a 6-month prison sentence or both. Mature trees with a circumference exceeding 1 meter are specifically identified as protected, and their removal is an offense. Huh? Huh? What did they do? Everything is done in a hurry. How many of you want to see those permits? Where are the people who like to go and hug a tree and they're all about the environment? How come we didn't hear any uproar from them? Huh? How come there's no uproar from them? Where are the environmentalists in Barbados? Huh? Wow, wow, wow. What this is so deep, huh? But you might say it's just trees. But I want you to understand the kind of government that you would be advocating to build to plant 1 million trees, and then in one breath you take something and cut down a whole, trees we can't even count. You lick out the forest. I want you to understand, those of you who say it's just trees, I want you to stop and think about what this is saying about the character of this government. What kind of government this is. Huh? I want you to think, and throughout this entire program tonight, I want you to focus in on that. I'm going to bring in to the studio Stephanie Williams. We're going to move on, guys, but we're going to come back to this. I know we're going to have to come back to this, folks. This is not normal. What's going on in here? I want to show you something that this is not normal. And the reason I'm saying it's not normal is this. I have seen people who are involved in the environment. They stage all kinds of little protests and all these little people, especially white people in here. I want to talk it through over the turtles and over all of that. But they don't dare take the fight to the Prime Minister about the trees. They don't dare take that fight to the Prime Minister about the trees. Where are the tree hugging people in Barbados? All of a sudden, cat got your tongue? Wow. Wow. This is serious. But you stick a pin here. We're talking about character, the character of the people that are leading us in this country. All right. So I want to welcome Stephanie Williams, and I also have with us is Alwyn Bob joining early. Wonderful.
Good evening.
And I want to tell the people I'm glad that you're back on today. We're going to move into some issues with the schools, and that's why we're on here. People say, "Oh my goodness, Alwyn Bob again." But we're dealing with some issues with the schools.
Yes.
People love to have you on, but I thought that it would be important for you to be on. And we have Miss Stephanie Williams on. And Stephanie Williams, she was a candidate in St. James North. Did I say that right? North.
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 No.
Hi, Steph. How you doing?
Hi, good night, Marcia. Hi, good night, Mr. Bob. I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Hi, good night, good night, good night, good night.
We're great. We're great. Let me apologize to the audience. You're not in a position to turn on your camera. And you did give me a lovely picture that I could put up. I'm going to make sure that Dave gets that and that we can put it up for you. But we're so happy to have both of you tonight. And while we have you for the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about the schools in Barbados that were ready. This was the first in a long time, said the Minister of Education, Mr. Chad Blackman. Stephanie, he said for the first time in a long time, all the schools were ready. Schools are going to be open and they're ready. And by the Monday, the children were running home. They couldn't, there was no, they weren't all ready. But before we even get into that, on the way to school, Miss Williams, you said you were on the bus on the way to school with your children. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yes, so I was on a bus, let's say Wednesday evening and Wednesday morning. And the music, Marcia, the
Mm-hmm.
music is horrible. It is sexual and it is violent, inciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had done a video prior about it,
Mm-hmm.
but this most recent video has been getting a lot more traction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is because persons are now realizing that it is detrimental to our young people, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the words that are being used, nothing is being hidden. And I know persons will say, but in our days, we had music that was lewd and crude. But I mean, the way how these persons are putting it over, it leaves nothing to the imagination. It is very disrespectful, right? And something really needs to be done about that. I remembered I had spoken to the now minister, Mr. Chad Blackman, during the by-election, and I had mentioned to him about the music, what can be done about it, and he said it's something that he was going to look into. However, that has not materialized. I'm not blaming him. However, it needs to be looked into. I would have spoken to one or two officers, and they would have mentioned that legislation needs to be strengthened, because if I'm a passenger on a bus and I call the police, then the police gets there, they can turn off the music and then the police can't do anything. So
Right.
that is just a waste of time. So they need to do something with the legislation and have that enforced. Even if they don't need to play any music, then don't play any music. But majority of the private public transportations, whether it's minibuses or ZR vans, the music is terrible. And the last thing I will say is this. Now we keep speaking about everything else that will be affecting our children. But when I think about it in this capacity, right? You have children in that environment on mornings who have to go into a school setting to be taught by teachers.
Yes.
Teachers already have the job of getting them settled and still teaching them. And then they then have to deal with the nasty behaviors that they're going to come in, because they're going to go to school hyped up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go to school ready to be disrespectful because it's what they're hearing. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even in referencing the video I did, I had persons saying, well, catch a transport board bus. But how regular do you see those? Or persons saying, buy a car. But that doesn't make sense either, because I got persons still sitting there waiting for houses. So, like, come on. Sometimes people say things that don't make sense. We
Yes.
have to catch the bus. All of us are not fortunate. I believe we need to come to the point where we realize that some things are actually contributing to the detriment of our children, and
Yes.
we can no longer sit idly by and do nothing about it, right?
So,
And I've also had some youngsters messaging as well,
mm,
stating that the music is very distasteful to them. So the youths are speaking out as well. Yes, I've had young people messaging me. Yeah,
wow, wow. If Dave could look, he would see her picture, and because I
yeah.
want, we did discuss that we put up her beautiful picture with her nice pose. So Dave, it's in your WhatsApp. You can put that up. But let me, before I go to Mr. Bob, let me ask you something. Um, what I mean, somebody might say, but those are private buses. They're not the big blue buses. Why should the government do something about this, or what could they even do? What would you say?
Mars, well, what I will say is this, right? Yes, they are privately owned transportation. However, they are catering to the public.
Mm.
They're not catering to their friends and their families. They're catering to the public. And the public, we have different personalities. We are different ages. You're catering to the elderly. You're catering to newborn babies. You're catering to people who may not even be feeling well on mornings. So when you come out and say, well, look, this bus privately owned and I can do what I feel like doing, we paying you though. In Belgium, we paying you though. Make it make sense. That's all I have to say about that, Marcy. Make it make sense.
Well, there. I've seen in Jamaica where they've now provided buses for the children to to use to back and forth from school. They've just provided those buses. I don't know what some of the other Caribbean countries are doing. There was a time, and I was supposed to research it before I came on, Mr. Bob, to see whether or not Jamaica, they've still banned that kind of music in their minibus. If somebody can let me know, but I remember being in Jamaica at the time or visiting Jamaica when there was a big issue about and there was people from the church got that kind of music banned from the buses in Jamaica, all public transportation, whether privately owned or government owned. They had banned that kind of music. I don't know if it is to this day. But Mr. Barber, let me ask you. I remember seeing a comment where someone said that was one of the reasons why David Thompson had allowed the children to ride for free on the blue buses. That was part of the issue he was correcting. Can you
I
add?
think
You ever
I
heard it?
think I think I think that was the main issue. And although it saved parents bus fare, take away the cost of going to school, I think that at that time persons were really concerned about the type of music and the culture that our young children were being exposed to. But I have to ask a question: is it music banned or against or illegal on public transport? I
I,
believe that it is in Barbados.
just say
Yes, there is legislation, but
Mm,
really.
it is hard for the police to enforce it because the police won't be right there when the
right.
guys are playing the music. They turn it off.
Yeah, but I'm saying that we have a right as the paying public for a service to make a complaint about the buses that are playing this kind of music. I too use public transport. I can tell you, if any person get into the bus with that type of lyrics, those type of lyrics playing, they get cursed. Get out by this van. They stop the van, open the door, and tell the person get out.
Yes, they do that. Some of them do that.
I mean, we are raising a type of culture in Barbados that everybody feel like they can do as they like, and when our children are being affected, that is when we have to be very concerned. So what back then when David Thompson brought up the legislation about driving on the bus, children going to school free on the public transport, there was much concern about it. So I am saying that we have to, in this day and age, now it's becoming, it's raised its ugly head again. We have to we don't have enough buses for normal transportation. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure how they're going to provide a separate transportation for school children, which will say to school children, any child going to school, this is your mode of transportation to school. You can't be seen on those buses.
Mhm.
That is another cost for the country, but is a worthy is a lot of this borrowed money can be used to pay for those buses to take our children to school.
Yeah, because but let me, especially seeing that we were able to just spend a whole lot of money here. We're thinking, actually, I know that $75 million Barbados was borrowed. US 75 million was borrowed to expand our creative infrastructure, right? So this was during the CARIFESTA time. I'm not trying to say that 75 million US was actually spent, Miss Williams, on CARIFESTA. I'm saying that money was borrowed. Now, as Mr. Bobby's saying, if we have money, we're borrowing so much money. Why can't we spend a little bit on our children? What are you suggesting that the government do, Stephanie?
I believe that the government needs to stick to their word. When
Yes.
they say that they care, we want to see that you care. We don't just want to hear that you care. Our children are our future. So for me, all of the lip service it's getting to a point where I'm just not interested anymore. I know, Marcia,
Mhm.
I was looking at my video on my other page, and someone was like, I understand your message, but you didn't have to use the same words that was in the song. And I responded to that person and I said to them, well, if this is the words that they're using for our children, why sugarcoat it? We
Ah,
gotta talk to the young people real. We gotta be honest with young people because they are intelligent beings. This is not time to sugarcoat stuff.
but
October 1st, we're gonna see a whole influx of different cultures. So we really gotta get with it. We really gotta get with it, and the government needs to do better. They need to put their money where their mouths are. Start giving us all this long talk. Just do what you need to do.
yes, yes. Um, Mr. Bob, I'm seeing something here on the screen that Dave has found. I think
Yes.
10 years ago. Is this 10 years
Yes.
ago? Where the then Minister of Transport,
Yeah.
yes, Minister Michael Lashley says, the mic. I'm sorry. Yes, Minister of Public, Minister
Last
Michael
week,
Lashley. Yes, and he's a Minister of
transport and works.
Transport and Works. Thank you. He says he's not backing down on the plans to ban the music in the vehicle, that it was in the works, but was it actually done?
No, it don't appear so.
It not
But I
appear.
know that I know music. I know that when there was a time, whenever the police approach a van, they would turn the music off. So it leads me to lead the conclusion that it is not allowed on public transport.
Mhm.
And when it reaches the tone where it is vulgar and disrespectful, not only to the adults but to children
Mhm.
who are forced into a situation because you have buses taking normal passengers to work, but then you don't have enough buses to service schools. So then they are forced to take the buses. Some children are delinquent and they will get onto the buses because they are attracted to certain things,
Mhm.
but they're children. So we have to make a decision as the government has to make a decision that for children make decisions out of an experience of life.
Yes.
So we have to guide them. So therefore, those things that present themselves to interfere with their clean development and healthy
Yes.
development into responsible adults, we have to nip it in the bud. And as Stephanie said, and I agree, and I want to say I congratulate you for bringing this issue to the public. And it came at a time where I think generally the public is concerned about where this where this lewd music, vulgar music is heading, and it's
Yes.
interfering with our children. They're not coming into school in the right frame of mind either. They're coming to school late and they're missing the wholesome part of assembly. And then they go into
Oh,
classes, and then they go into classes and they act out because these things about shoot this body and is coming in their heads, and is repetitive, so it becomes part of their day. So I want to thank Stephanie for bringing it up, and we need to keep it out there because we have to protect our children.
yes, yes. Stephanie, is there anything else that you want to say on this? I see Andrea Critchlow is agreeing with Mr. Bob that music carries frequencies which can affect mood and behaviors of some people
Yes,
who are sensitive to it. So that type of music doesn't have to be played on the public transport. So,
yes,
is there anything you want to add about that? Because that must be part of why you're so concerned, because these children are going to school, right?
yes. But Marcia, two of the comments that really touched me today. One young lady, she said she is brought up in a Christian home, but sometimes she has to catch the van. And she says sometimes she just has to sit there and endure it because there's nothing else that she can do.
Mm-hmm.
Another young boy, he was like, you mean school boring? I don't want the bus boring too? And Marcia, that hurt me. That statement alone says so much. School
Yes.
is boring. I know you want the bus to be boring. And I want to say to parents, right? As much as I'm calling on the government to do something about the music, parents, we need to step up to the plate more. We need to motivate and we need to inspire our children. We need to pour in positive things into our children. It is not easy, but we need to do it because, like, out there are so many things that will distract them and send them down the wrong road. Our children are not our friends. You understand? We're supposed
Yes,
to nurture and we're supposed to lead. And we really got to step up to the plate more. I know there are a lot of parents out there who are going above and beyond. I commend them. But then we have to be honest about the fact that there are some parents out there who are not putting their best foot forward. And that is a problem, right? Teachers already have a hard enough job having to get children settled and trying to teach a lesson. So, like, when the children go to school in that frame of mind, how are teachers supposed to cope? It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair.
yes, 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 most definitely. I see people are agreeing, and people are saying, Mr. Bob, that there we don't. Agreeing with you, we don't have enough of the transport board buses, the government buses, and so people have to take the minibuses.
Yes.
And I think what we really need to find out is if this law is on the books. Because if the law is on the books, then we have to advocate, Mr. Bob, that the law is, that they follow the law. And that's something that the loyal opposition, that's something that we can really, really push for. That is done, because there's something that Stephanie raised, Mr. Bob. She said
Mhm.
that come October 1st, we're supposed to have, an influx of people into Barbados with different cultures and so
Doing some things right.
on.
Yes.
Why do you think she'll be concerned about that? Should we be concerned about that, even as it
Up-
relates to our children, the music, and where we see the society is going?
I want to make 2 points before we get to that. 1 point before we get to that. We,
Yes,
we hear a lot of talk about educational transformation.
yes,
We hear about the renaming of classes to grades. Part of educational transformation, and it to be successful, we have to make sure the children are in a frame of mind to learn. So therefore, part of our transformation should be geared towards addressing getting our children to and from school in a safe environment. That
because
should be
yeah, a lot of money has been spent on this education transformation, which we realized was not even put in the actual infrastructure, the schools themselves, the
right.
plants as they call them. So some of that can be put into getting the children to and from school in a in a safe way. What are your thoughts on that, Miss Williams? Would that suffice for you? Stephanie, you're muted.
Mm,
Okay, she seemed to have dropped out a
yeah.
bit there. Oh, it says here AI is saying no, music is not banned on all buses in Barbados. The government run blue buses do not allow music, while privately owned ZRs and yellow minibuses often play loud music, though there have been attempts to legislate
This one.
against it to ensure safety and prevent disorderly conduct on public
Right.
transport.
Trans.
Okay. So
We need to go a bit further then. Yes.
yes, so they need to go further. Okay, I see Miss Williams is
Further.
back in. Okay, there's still a little challenge there. Yeah, but so that we got our question answered. So it is banned on the blue buses, the blue government buses,
Yes.
but not on the privately owned ZR and regular minibuses. So
Right.
they needed to push the legislation further.
Yeah. And also the point she addressed raised about October 1st. We
Yes.
are we tend to be a people who can become very influenced, easily influenced by other cultures that appear to attractive. The child said it's boring if you come to school, go to school in a quiet atmosphere. And so I'm saying that we see how the influence of other cultures, music, etc., has shaped our children's minds. So what she's saying that we are now open the door for more to come in. And how are we going to deal with that? She has raised a very good point.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Are you there, Miss Williams?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, Marcia.
Yes, wonderful. But I want to, you can tell me when you need to go, but we still have a few more issues surrounding school and students that
Yeah,
we want to address.
no
And
problem.
I said we're going to start from we board the bus to school, but I should have started from when we have to prepare, right, to get to school. So the parents preparing, not the government. We're going to touch on that. But
Yes,
if Dave could look at a letter that was sent to me from Eden Lodge, and this is Eden Lodge Nursery, and from what I saw, Miss Williams and Mr. Bob and audience, it would appear to me that Eden Lodge Nursery is a government run nursery.
it is.
It is, okay. So I'm looking at a letter and I'm waiting on Dave to put it up on the screen. Now, this is a nursery. What's the age group of the children that go to nursery, Miss Williams?
I think there will be like probably 3.5, 4.
Three and a
And
half.
I
down.
think.
And
I
down.
think.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. You're dealing with the pricing, the price of the
Yes.
stuff, Marcia.
Yes. No, folks, I
Yes.
did. I almost fell off I was on the
Yes.
bed when somebody sent this to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can anybody tell me really? Am I out of my mind here? Look at this. Look at this letter. Dear parent or guardian, thank you for choosing Eden Lodge Nursery School for your child or ward. Remember, this is nursery, not primary. We're talking about 4-year-olds here.
And not only nursery, but government nursery.
Government
Yeah, so
nursery,
that's the one to keep in focus.
right?
Go ahead. Yes.
Government nursery. Yeah. So listen to this. It says, please be informed that your child or ward has been accepted at Eden Lodge. This, yes, wonderful. For the year 2025 to 2026. All right? Think about this. The main purpose of this activity will be to share the information, etc. I want to bore you into all of that. Dave, go down. Come up. You have to bring your birth certificate and all of that. We know that. So now let's get to the meat
Go
of the
off the
matter.
page.
That every parent is looking at these. Come down in the letter. Dave, you go. Yes, go to
Go
the
up.
bottom of the letter. Go up.
Up.
Thank you.
Yes.
So PTA subscription for the year, $120. Games closed, $60. Christmas gift and party contribution, $30. They're not making a joke, you know. They might ask for it up front. Birthday celebrations, $30. School meals, 3 times, $38. Enrichment activities like dancing, football, cricket, violin, etc., $150. Curriculum, curriculum, you're buying curriculum material too, $75. So in total, this is a government nursery for 4-year-olds.
And younger.
I'm saying four and down
And younger. Yes.
and younger.
Mm.
4 and younger. If we're wrong on the age, somebody let me know. I don't have those young ones anymore. Look at the total. It's $503. And I want you to bear in mind that we do not have on this yet the uniform, because some of these places, I don't have Eden Lodge as a uniform, but
They
some of
do.
these, they do. Thank you.
Yeah, they do.
They do. So we're not talking about uniform yet. And we're not, it doesn't seem here we're talking about books.
The curriculum. I don't know if the curriculum means books or you buy
Curriculum could mean books. Okay.
Could be. I'm
Can
not sure.
somebody clarify? Some of you have a little one. Clarify.
Well,
Well, what I would, okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Well, what I would say is, I know that my son and one of my daughters would have attended this school. It is a very good school. The former principal was very nice. However, When I had received my letter like this, I opted not to participate in the birthday celebration and about two other things
Yes.
because it's my choice, okay? It's
Yes.
my choice, and I
Uh-huh.
made that decision. And also, I just want parents to know that in terms of PTA subscriptions, whether it's preschool, nursery school, primary, or secondary school, that is not mandatory. And this is something that I have been trying to get parents to understand. No, schools come and they enforce pay this up front. But you cannot tell me that because that is not mandatory according to the Ministry of Education. You understand? This is something that parents do not understand. And I mean, I was sent this letter, I think last year. Someone had sent me this letter and they were like, Stephanie, look at this. And I looked at it and I just put it down because I think the fees are more than when my children had attended. So I don't know what's going on now. But parents have to be able to make informed decisions for themselves. If you don't need a birthday party with a cake, you can do it yourself, then do it yourself. Why be stressed out about something that you cannot do? Just say you can't do it. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses.
So Stephanie, if they send this to you and with a $500 with these things itemized, and you don't want to say the birthday, the PTA, but you can get the games closed, you're not participating in the Christmas and party contribution, the enrichment activities, dancing and football, because when you leave there, you're gonna take your choice somewhere else to do that. If you don't meet some of these costs, are you still allowed in?
Well, I would believe so. For me, in terms of the football, which are extracurricular activities, I wouldn't have a problem with that because
Okay.
the children are small. I need to
Mm-hmm.
have them in extracurricular activities.
Right.
However, for the ones I would have mentioned, maybe I don't celebrate birthdays,
Agree.
right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if I don't celebrate birthdays, I don't need to pay for a birthday party.
It's true.
So that's excluded.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You follow?
Yes, I'm following you. Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be paying all that money though. I listen. I don't mix matters, Mr. Bob, Miss Weeks. I do not. I don't have time for it. I don't have time to talk pretty. I don't have time to dwell on certain things. I am going to pay for what I know my child can benefit from, and everything else will have to stay where they are. It is as simple as that. Parents need to stand up more. Parents are too quiet about things that they know they can't do. Why are you going to bend over backward to do things that you know you cannot do? And then you can't eat for the next 4 weeks? That is crazy.
Yeah.
We need to stop with that mentality. Stop dealing with how things look. Don't care about the look or what people say. Do what you can.
Yeah. And Mr. Bob, why I brought this up was in light of what Mr. Eddie Abed said, where he said that there were so many parents, in need. They could not afford to buy the school supplies for their children. And in his case, he's talking about uniforms and socks and those kinds of things that the children wear, the games clothes and so on. He found that they were in a more need than he has ever seen in his entire life as a businessman being in Barbados. And so when this came to me, I was shocked. So I'm glad that parents, I'm hoping that it is a case where parents would not be forced to pay this $503 in a government institution. This is an institution being run by the government. I'm also happy to know that they offer very good education to the students, because here is a mom, Stephanie, saying that her children benefited and it was very good. But then, it's one thing to you're going to a private school, and you're going to a government run school. The reason you go to the government, because our taxes would have already, Mr. Bob, paid for that. And so we
Yes.
wouldn't have to know how to take from the grocery money, etc. For single moms. It was a single mom who sent it to me, right? Mr. Bob.
Yes. Yes. Those costs, as Stephanie say, you where you don't you have to cut out those things that are not necessary. But I'm still shocked that a number of things are that pricing at a government nursery. I'm wondering why, though. Why? Because I believe at extracurricular activity could very easily be covered. The PTA subscription, that is not, nobody pays PTA subscription at secondary schools that I know about. So why include it there at the nursery? I don't understand.
Actually, actually, PTA subscriptions, I believe, are paid at secondary schools,
By who?
right? Parents. I'm
But
not saying that all parents
oh, that's
pay it.
new. But that's news to me because sometimes they're not even well attended. So
No,
I will have to ask the who is there now president if there's a subscription for parents to pay
yeah,
PTA.
they have subscriptions, but
Okay.
every PTA at every school is different,
I ain't don't
right?
know FDI, but I'm still shocked. All
Listen,
right.
as a parent, and somebody said they used to just ask you to bring something, if they have sports day
A
or
little
whatever
donation.
it is.
Okay,
Like the
okay, yeah.
first time I got a letter that says they listing the things, I had to burst out laughing in my house, and they say a piece of saltfish. Listen, I laughed so much. I took it to Dave. I said, "Look, the letter say a piece of saltfish. It doesn't say 5 pounds or whatever." It was kind of funny, but everybody, we did it as a community. I think what we're
Yeah.
saying, it's not that we want to affirm Eden Lodge nursery, because we're hearing that it's a very good nursery, so you should try to get your children there. But it's what we're alarmed at is the fees, and what seem to be fees here. And we don't know if these are optional, if you can opt out of it and you pay as you go. The point is that even if you're paying as you go, parents, you're still paying. Why should you have to pay all of this at a government institution? And that is what, and probably Eden Lodge can give us a call, 236-7000, to explain why. And is this what happens at
So,
all of the government nurseries?
but Marcia, they may have to do that because if you have to include those type of activities which boost your the nursery in the eyes of the parents as make it a nursery of choice,
Yeah.
then certain things you're not being is not being subsidized or supported by the government. So therefore, that's why you probably will see those fees, those contributions, as I call them, not necessary fees, being tacked on to what you get or what
Mm.
is given to you.
So there
All right?
might not is not necessarily
Yes.
fees as
Right.
we
The
consider fees,
contributions.
but I
Yes.
think what we have to know is that, is it something that you're pressured to pay? Ivor Taylor says, I was told at Shirley Chisholm that the schools have to operate on their own with no help from the government. So probably that's why they're doing that. Um, you know.
I'm not sure about that, Marcia. I know
Mm,
that in primary schools they receive some amount of money. I can't give you the amount, but
yes.
maybe it is not adequate. And here is my thing about that. We
Mm-hmm.
have to come to a point where we understand that we cannot depend on government for everything. At my
Mm-hmm.
daughter's primary school, I would have taken toilet paper, I would have taken sanitizer, I would have taken hand soap just to help. I do not see anything wrong with that, right? I don't see anything wrong with that. But I don't believe that the money that the government gives to the schools
Adequate.
is enough. And that
Yeah.
in itself is a problem because, like, I don't know. You're
Yeah.
finding money to do all kinds of things, but you're saying you care about the children. However, you're saying you can't give them enough money
But
to do the things that they would need to do. That's just crazy.
I have to put a plug here for teachers. And we have a saying that teachers steal from home to support that school to support school.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes, they do. Teachers bring a lot of things from home,
they
and there's
do.
and some parents make huge contributions to making sure that their children at various schools are comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to look at what we're
Yes.
budgeting and what schools need. Um, First of all, as a government institution, we have to prioritize what our educational system needs on it, schools needs on a daily basis to adequately function and do
Yes.
not shift the burden on to parents or
But
teachers.
but as we're on the schools and schools being given the adequate support from government, one of the things that we heard today, well, I got this message since yesterday about Welch's primary. I don't know if the others of you heard or people who are watching, but there seemed to be an infestation, it is being alleged, of rats at Welch's primary. They had closed because they said it was for environmental reasons. And I know that I was told that they didn't tell the parents exactly what it was, but we're getting to understand that it's rats that were running in this in the where they prepare the school meals. I don't know, Mr. Bob. Let me speak with you because you are presently in the school system. Have you heard about anything like this?
I heard from parents that I know that there were concerns about mice. I didn't hear the rats. You know, we interchange
Okay.
the terms, we interchange them. But I'm saying that if school is being prepared for the start of a new term, you go into schools and there are you and you're doing a thorough cleaning because the schools have been closed up, most of them, especially primary schools, for 8 weeks, and you don't check these things. You don't check to see if mice and rats are camping out in the roof and have their lunch in your cupboards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that getting school ready means that there are certain things you look for, because once a building is not occupied, in would come the pests.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that we have the government, whoever they are, and we must take getting school ready, not only the infrastructure in terms of putting down roundabout, doing concrete work, knocking down wall here, but looking for things such as mice and rats droppings, so that when you start the school term, because when they're moving out so easy, we can share the space. And most of the time, when you see a rat, the Barbadians gonna run.
Yes. We're going to talk about that at the geriatric. Coming up,
All
we're going
right.
to, after this segment, we're going to talk about how the nurses are running at night, some of the rats at geriatric hospital. But
What?
when
Mm.
Stephanie, you know,
Yes.
can you imagine you're a parent with young children in school and you're hearing that they're rodents? We're going to say rodents because we don't know if it's rats, we don't know if it's mice. The children see something running and could have been a mice or a rat. So we want to be as truthful as possible. But what would you, I mean, as a parent, what would be your response?
Marcia, I will keep my children home.
And that is
And
what
I
somebody
said
else did.
that is how I feel, right? Because I remember when the Lawrence Tigger school had the environmental issue. And, you know, at first when it was telling parents something was going on, people were like, oh, she want the school shut and da 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 da. However, when the school closed, everyone was up in an uproar, wanting to know what was going on. But when it was telling them what was going on, they didn't want to hear. My children were at home. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And I had the mindset they were not going back to school until things were put in order and in place. Because you know, there's this thing when you keep holding children too long, the ministry want to come for you. That
Yeah.
was the mindset I was in. Let the ministry come. They're still not going to school. Do what you are supposed to do. Make the environment safe for our children. It should be conducive. And this is the point parents in Barbados need to get to. When you know that something is wrong, do not let people come and tell you that everything is okay. Make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have the summer program with a list of schools who have to get work done. And I know from experience, nobody can tell me, Marcia, 3 and 4 weeks before school open, you're going to have 8 workmen on the job who have to go to other schools to work. Make it make sense. It
Mm.
doesn't make sense.
Repeat what
They're
you just
always
said.
late.
Repeat what you just said because that you see we are hearing schools are not ready, but these are some of the reasons. Go ahead, repeat what you just said.
Yes, 4 and 3 weeks before school start, you're going to send workmen on the school plant to do work. And those
Mm,
same workmen, even though they're going to work weekends, they have to still work on other schools. So even like when the minister came out and he said accountability, he's holding people accountable, right?
mm,
You're holding the contractors and the workers and the union accountable. I am holding you accountable because I know for myself. Okay, there's a guy who goes around to the schools and then he reports back to the Ministry of Education. Then they decide when the guys are going to come to work. Contractors don't go on the school plan on their own. They have to
mm,
get the okay when to start work and what to do. So don't come out and blame the people saying contractors and workers, you are going to be held accountable. They need to stop it. They need to stop passing the blame and hold themselves accountable and say, you know what? This is something that happens every year. Marcy, it happens every year. Hence, when the guy said we've done 47 or 45 schools and they will be ready, and they went on that comment on Facebook and they said, nice, and they did the clap hands and they said, who come Monday for school, you don't eat your words. Because I already knew schools were not ready. It is just known. They're too lackadaisical when it comes to dealing with the schools. Too last minute. And like it's just crazy that every year it is the same repetitive behavior. And you realize you're getting a little bit passionate, Marcia, because this has really disturbed me. How do you do
mm.
the same thing year after year after year and then come and fool the public? You have no
Attempt to fool the
conscience.
public. Attempt to fool the public.
Attempt to fool the public.
The public. Yes.
Attempt to fool. Yes, yes. Yes, correct. Attempt to fool the public.
Yes.
You know, but the public is waking up. The public
But
is waking up, Marcia.
yeah, you know what it is that I think that really annoyed people this time around. Well, there are a couple of things. One is that they made the big announcement, the Minister of Education and the Chief Education Officer. And I don't know. I mean, if I was the, I would try to make sure I go around to the schools, especially the problematic ones. I would have to get out my office because I don't want to get shamed. That's just how I am. The whole summer
Yeah,
when people were CARIFESTAing and crop overing, I would be at them schools, and I would. And
yes,
let me tell you something. That's how I am. So I don't know how they could. What are they drinking? That they could come and make a statement and have to put egg on their faces the next 2 days.
yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense, Mr. Bob.
It doesn't.
It
It
doesn't make
doesn't.
sense. And I think that sometimes I think on this occasion the minister's announcement or pronouncement that
Mhm.
schools for the first time will be open on Monday placed the chief education officer in a very precarious position because she was not going to say no, you're not, that is not correct. So it placed her in a position to agree. She's not going to disagree right
Right.
there or even right. So it placed her in a strange position. And then to make matters worse, they tried to get in a shouting match with the union. But you're wrong.
Yeah, yes. I was concerned about that as well. And I did
Mhm.
a video about that as well, Marcia, because it doesn't look good. You know, we want the best for our nation's children. However, this is what I have found, again, from my own personal experience from being in the schools, right? Sometimes the ministry officials, they go off and do what they want to do, and they expect that everyone else falls in line.
Mm.
And that is not good enough. This is not the first time that you will hear the union saying, well, the ministry did not consult us. And listen, again, going back to the environmental issue,
Yeah.
parents weren't consulted. Parents heard about the school being reopened, sometimes from the media, and you're scrambling. When you spoke about it, then they came and they had a meeting with parents and on another day and they let us know that we're going back into school such and such time. But even then, it was late notice. You get a meeting the Friday or the Sunday night to go school the Tuesday. Like that can make sense.
Yeah.
That is it is just this kind of crazy behavior. And Marcia, one more thing I'll say. Like you were just mentioning that if you were the chief, what you would do. If I were the chief, I would go to every school and rally parents to be on my team. You
Correct.
understand? Rally parents to be on my team. And
She gonna get
feet gonna be on the ground though. Cause we going to every school. You understand? They can't do it by themselves.
no.
They
You're
gotta
correct.
embrace parents more. They keep telling us to be more involved. I was more involved than to kick me to the curb. However, I good know. But rally the parents together. You need a team though. Get more proactive. Get more creative. You can't be doing the same old thing and expecting to get positive results. It is crazy. We are heading into a new era and they gotta up their game. They need to.
It's
They
really
need to up it.
really crazy, what is happening, and you wonder, are they doing this on purpose? Is this something they're doing on
Mhm.
purpose? Hold that thought there, but and we're gonna discuss that at the end of this segment. But I went through the manifesto, the 2018 manifesto. For some reason, I'm not finding. No, the 2022 manifesto. I'm not finding the 2018 manifesto anymore. But I found the 2022 BLP manifesto. And I combed through that manifesto and I found they had all of these ideas and these plans for education. But the one thing that I never saw in that manifesto, people, Mr. Bob and Miss Williams and viewers, is anything to do with the infrastructure of the schools, the maintaining, the upkeeping of the infrastructure of the schools. I never saw it. I took the entire thing and I put it in AI and I asked AI to show me, is there anything to do with the plant, maintaining the plant,
Mhm.
repairs? Nothing is in their manifesto about that.
That
Isn't
that
that
mean-
crazy?
I think that
They're
I
talking
think
about robots.
I
They're
think
talking about AI. They're
yeah,
talking about all these different things, but nothing to do with the plant that you
maintenance.
have 500, 300 children running up and down every day in and out. It's going to get worn and tattered and in need of repair. You were saying something, Mr. Bab.
They were not surprised. They've stuck to their manifesto plans. There's nothing for there's nothing on
Right.
there's nothing on maintenance and upkeep. So they're maintain. I think that is why they're so disorganized and last minute. So there are no plans for upkeep. So
Yeah.
we aren't surprised.
I think the big questions, Miss Williams, is are they? Do you think that they're doing this on purpose? Is it that because there's a feeling that you know, are we going towards privatization of a lot of our social services? What the things that we do for the public? Because the reason I'm asking this, I remember in Jamaica. After we went to the IMF, a lot of things that we were getting for free, Mr. Bob and Mr. Williams and viewers, we no longer got. So even though education is supposed to be free in Jamaica, you have to pay for so many different things. It's almost like it's, for some people, it's like it's private. Especially at secondary levels, secondary level education. So I'm wondering, is it that they are this is a purpose work where people know are going to be pulling their, because if you hear rats running up and down, you hear all these kind of mice, you hear all these kind of things happening, the school's not ready, the dust, just the whole environmental issues, the everything. Is it that they want parents to go private, you think, Miss Williams?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as saying that. However, this is my personal belief. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that there are a number of agendas in the pipeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that a lot of the things that are happening currently are distractions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I believe that they are distractions. I remember when you had done the March, Marcia, when you were
Yeah.
talking about gender neutrality and fluidity. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to remember seeing in Jamaica when the boys were dressed like girls and the girls were dressed like boys for that one day, and that disturbed me. And when I sit down in my quiet time, right, and I think about everything that is being done, I keep getting the feeling, this sense that come next year, a lot of things will not be the way how we see them right now.
Mm,
I realize that our children are very out of place, and the government, the ministry, they can do stuff, but they're not doing anything to pull back that behavior. It's almost like our children are let loose.
mm,
You understand? And I feel like when this agenda that they're looking to push comes fully on stream, our children will be like, but there's what we could do. But there's what we could do. The children already don't want to listen to the parents. So if you
mhm.
hear that you can live whatever lifestyle you want to live and your parents can't stop you, I know you're going a little bit off track. But when I think about that, it would explain why it seems that our children are being allowed to do what they have to do. It seems that children have more rights than parents. And it even goes back to like wandering. Check wandering, Marcia. Wanting when children run away from home, that was a big thing. But now it's like, nah, really nothing. That young girl, she was missing for 5 months. Her father couldn't find her. And when she came back, she refused to tell her father where she was. That is crazy. And it wasn't a big thing that she was not at school for 5 months. What was she doing within that 5 months? What happened to that case? The public is never updated. There are things going on, and Barbadians have to get up to date and get more serious. Things are happening right under our noses, and some people not recognizing it. They're not recognizing it, and it's sad, to be honest.
Yes.
It is
As we
sad.
close off this segment on schools, Mr. Bob, you're in the school setting. I don't know if your school was ready. I think you're at Leicester. Is you're at Leicester Bourne?
Yes, I'm at one school.
Right. So I heard about the high grass, the tall grass that was being cut on the morning. I don't know. Listen, these people, I don't. They don't have no shame. Let me tell you, there
On the
is no
morning,
way. There is
Yes.
no way I could be in charge of something, and that is happening on the morning. Not me. You hear what I tell you? Not me.
I think that what happened at the Leicester School, it was one of the residences for those person participating in CARIFESTA, because I
Yes.
know on the first day of school we had to meet off campus for our staff meetings, management and staff meetings, and then we came back to school on the Thursday of that week. And so I think that the ancillary staff, because people were still there, it took a little time to get things ready for schools, for that school. I believe other schools were affected as well. We were able to start because there was planning week, but the the actual students coming to school was not affected. The morning, the grass. I think that sometimes grass get tall because priority is shifted to elsewhere, so the grass is left to the last minute.
Yes.
Yes, so that happens as well. But we have to be aware that there are persons who are allergic to freshly cut grass, so therefore it must be done in a more timely manner
Yeah.
as well.
I mean, but how do you think all of those things affect children? The reason I'm asking that question, Mr. Bob, is that when I used to run a camp at Praise Academy, one of the things I would always say to the whole staff is, let's get everything ready because children, they love order. And
Yes.
if they
yes,
come in a space, you agree, Miss Williams? If they come in a
yes,
space
yes,
and the space, and if there's disorder, those children are going to hit the roof of bouncing off the wall. But if
Mhm.
they come in and there is order, there is everything is clean and it's tidy, it's not that they won't put it out of place, but psychologically in their minds it does something to them. They understand this is an ordered environment, and that's one of the
yes,
things we
Agree.
used to do
Yes.
at camp, right? Everything, this goes here, that they know where what goes. So I'm asking you as a teacher, how do you think this unpreparedness, when the environment, the plant, as they love to call it, I hate that word, but you know what I mean,
Yes.
when it's not prepared, How is that affecting even secondary school children?
When children come into school and the school environment is not prepared and they don't know where they're supposed to go, it is chaos. It is very difficult to settle them. Even as simple as a morning, the classrooms are open a couple of minutes late. It is total chaos. So
Yeah.
yes, you're correct that the children must be able to see and they come into an environment that has been settled and ready because it puts them in the frame of mind. This is a place of business and work.
Mm-hmm.
Not that when we get here, nobody know where we're going. I ain't going up there because, sir, they ain't got the desk. Mom, they're dirty. And then
Mm.
from there, they wander all over the place. And that starts, if that is not settled by early in the morning, it messes up the entire school day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so this is why we're appealing. But we do it every year and it doesn't happen. This is something we do every year. We appeal to them to make sure that the schools are ready. The schools are ready. I don't know. I think they just love a beating in the media because there is no way all these years that this would still be happening to me now. But the thing is that I can't remember this being a problem when my children were at Bailey's. I don't remember this being a problem. It's just of late. Am I wrong in that, Miss Williams? Or I'm forgetting?
Marcia, so many things happening I can't even remember either. It's
I
just,
can't remember
yeah,
this being a problem.
yeah. You don't really hear Bailey's having issues. I don't hear about Bailey's school having issues, to be honest. I don't.
You
But
know what?
Marcy, I wanted to add one thing, right?
Yes, yes. Before
A
we
young
close.
lady today, she was saying that at her school, I can't remember the subject teacher, but the subject teacher has not been there since last term. I know she has gone back to school. There's still no teacher to teach that subject. And she's very disturbed about that. And this is something that is not only happening at her school, but across Barbados, this is an issue. Get teachers. When teachers go off on sick leave, they retire, whatever the case may be, to fill in the spaces. It is not right. And then you have children who have to do CXCs and different stuff, and you expect to put work that they did not do on the paper, because that happens as well.
Right,
Work
because
that they would not have done is on the
they're not
paper.
there. They're not there. They're not there. Wow,
Yeah.
there's so much to touch on schools, but I'm glad I
Yep.
had a parent and a teacher on. Well, thank you so much, Miss Williams, for being on with us tonight. We really, really appreciate it.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
and don't be a stranger.
Glad to
I
talk to
won't.
you
I won't.
and share with you.
Yes, thank you so
No
much. Thank you.
problem.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you so much. Wow. This is, oh my goodness, I don't know this. If this is not incompetence, I don't know what is. I'm thinking, why would you allow yourself to go through this every year? I just don't know.
And
uh,
then attempt to bring a cover and to bring optics and it's crazy. And then you want to cover it with optics and this a big pronouncement when you know that you're not ready. Anyhow,
that is so embarrassing. Well, I see Mr. Apostle Canterbury is with us, and you guys always hit it off. So, oh my goodness, yeah. So let him come in. I see Mr. Victor Young is calling, but Mr. Victor Young, we're going to call you back at 9, Mr. Victor Young. Okay, if you're listening, Victor Young, we're going to call you back at 9 o'clock. All right. Well, let me just welcome Apostle Linworth Canterbury with us tonight, sir. How are you doing?
Well, pleasant good night to you, ma'am. I'm doing great. It's great to see you on tonight, Mr. Val.
hi,
Good
good
to
night,
see
good
you
night.
up in as well too. I was
Yes.
sitting there listening and very excited about what's going on. It's apparently we have an issue with the big man with the big plan, with the big vision, with the big passion, and now we got big problems.
Yay.
Listen, I'm hearing. I don't know.
Repeat that again. It sounds
Say
slow.
it again. I love it. I love it. Repeat, yes, repeat it. Repeat it. The big man with the say it all.
Yeah, well, that's what I saw on the billboards. You know, over here for the last election, I saw the big man with a big vision, with a big plan, with a big passion, and now we got big problems. So
Big problems.
yes,
you know, I mean, anything can happen. I don't even want to seem like I'm laughing at Chad.
No, we're not laughing at it. We're laughing at
Is
it. Yes.
the issue is the pronouncements.
right,
Big plans, big this, big that,
yeah,
and then everything is small. You know. Well, not
yeah,
really. You have they have big problems.
Big
Well,
problem.
yes, ma'am,
tonight we're talking about a bloated voters list. This is for the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We have some questions for them. We don't
yes,
know.
ma'am,
We have questions, and we have questions for voters who are watching. We want to know, did you check if your name is on the voters list?
right,
Why does the EBC face accusations of keeping a bloated voter list?
right, right.
And we're going to look at some of those issues. So over to you, Apostle Canterbury, and then we'll jump right in.
Okay, well, let me just go ahead and start from this point. I had, so many individuals been asking me, are you coming back for the election? Of course, we're moving towards that right now, and I've been asked, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be coming back? Are you going to be running again? And I've been quietly praying and listening specifically to what the Lord would have me to do going forward into the next general election. But one of the things that is very heavy in my mind surrounds the Electoral and Boundaries Commission and the electoral list. As you would have known, in 2021, there was a leak of the voters list here in Barbados. And I have some information on that because I did some investigation in regards to that leak, and I found out some things that were very disturbing. But I just want to say here that I am, my mind is, I don't want to contest another general election that can be rigged, because it is mine, from my knowledge and investigations, that the last two elections in Barbados were rigged. Okay, and I don't want to hold my mouth back. I want to say exactly what I have to say about this. And I don't think that Barbados, the 166 square miles, deserves to be at the stage where elections are being rigged. I think that is a horrible precedence that's being set by this current administration. And these are things that can be investigated and proven. Now, let me go on to say that in 2018, there's three things that I want to talk about. In 2018, when we had the last election, I had a gentleman that came to me and he said, Mr. Canterbury, I want you to know I voted for you, but I saw something that was very disturbing when I went to vote. He said my father's name was on the list here in St. Peter. He said my father's name was on the list, and my father in 2018 at the time, he said my father was dead 14 years. So how does someone who is dead 14 years, whose name is still on that list? I was told just a week ago by a lady here in St. Peter that the Electoral and Boundaries Commission came around asking about, persons who are now 18 years old of age that can possibly vote. And the situation turned out that when they were looking at the current list that they had, her mother's name was not on the list, and her mom had only died about 2 months ago. Okay, I went to the Electoral and Boundaries Commission to ask about the list and about when the list is updated. I was told that the list is updated on the 31st of January every year. So if the list was updated on January the 31st this year, then someone who died 2 months ago, their name should still be on the list. Okay, so what I am asking for is for Mr. Thorne, Mr. Stewart, and for Lynette Eastman, and all of these individuals who are the head of their political parties to do some type of contact, follow up with the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, because something is amiss. Because if the voters list is updated on the 31st of every year, of January every year, how can someone who has been dead for over 14 years still be on the list? And how can someone who died after January the 31st of this year, who died 2 months ago, how can their name not be on the list when the list was updated on January the 31st? Okay, so I am saying that the electoral list in Barbados can still be manipulated and give advantage to this ruling administration and give them the opportunity to continue to be in power and make it look as though Barbadians are so much in love with them that we would continue to give them all of the seats of parliament. The last thing, which is number 3, I also got information about a particular seat in St. George that one of the persons that worked with the Barbados Labour Party candidate in that particular constituency made it absolutely clear that when they had a list of the names of those in that constituency, they had the list. When they compared the list they had, now they're working for the Barbados Labour Party candidate in that constituency in St. George. They said when they compared the list they had with the list that he had, they had 2 completely different lists. So how is it possible for one of your workers to have a list of that constituency, but when it is compared to the one that the candidate has, it's a different list? So I am saying that moving into the next election, it is going to be critical for the leaders of the political parties in Barbados to have some type of dialogue with the Electoral and Boundaries Commission to find out what is the state of the update of the electors here in the island of Barbados. Something is seriously wrong with what's going on there, and it has to be addressed. It must be addressed if we're ever going to have free and fair election. So I cannot understand, and maybe you can help me, but I cannot understand how a list is updated on the 31st of January every year, and someone who has died 2 months ago, their name is not on the list. Something is really seriously wrong, and it must be addressed. And someone at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission must come to the public and let the public know what is the current state of, the update of the current election list in Barbados, what has been going on, what is being done to make sure that the list is viable, the names that need to be removed, people who have been dead for over 14 years, why are their names still on the list? Why is this happening in Barbados? There must be something wrong. So if a man can tell me that his father's name is still on the list and was still on the list since 2018, 14 years the man has been dead, that tells me that list has not been updated for a very long time. So what are we doing in Barbados? What type of election are we running when the Electoral and Boundaries Commission know that the list that is going out there is a list that is not updated? So, I have a very serious issue in terms of, like I said, I've been praying about this, but I have a very serious issue in putting myself forward as, a candidate, knowing that the electoral list in Barbados has not been updated. Okay. So this can be manipulated to make sure that this administration, this current administration, stays in power, because they're going to do everything in their power to maintain their governance over Barbados. They cannot afford to lose the government right now, and they're going to do everything that's in their power. So the mere fact that the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, they have, folk out there in the communities right now, checking and finding out who's 18. I mean, you just had the Trident card issue, for goodness sake. You had all of that going on. You want to tell me that right now you don't know in terms of who's turning 18? You've even got, to my knowledge, you even have postmen who are going, on their rounds, asking individuals here in St. Peter if they have any children that have reached the age of 18 to bring documentation and to bring information for them to fill out, and all of that is going on right now, Madam Weeks. And I do not think it is fair to the people of Barbados. I don't think it's fair to any other political party or any political candidate to be involved in an election in a country with only 11 parishes, 30 constituencies. I don't think it's fair for them to go into any election again with the electoral list in Barbados not being where it should be and what it should be. So I think the time for some kind of investigation into the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, something has to be done to make sure that we start the process of getting elections in Barbados free and fair again.
Yes, very well said, because I was only last week, someone said my mother has voted in every election, and someone told me that only Saturday. And when they came to my house, my mother's name wasn't on the list, and it wasn't just a mother; it was like an aunt as well. And they were always at the same location. Somebody, Monica Ince, is saying. So what we're saying here is very important, and we're not accusing anybody. It's just it's alarming. Monica Ince says I have a family member who live at the same address for years, and their name is not on the voters list. Had a lot of running around, got frustrated, and gave up on voting. I saw here, I wrote another name. I want to bring Eugene Campbell, because this is important. That's why we say you've got to check, because Eugene Campbell says a friend lived and voted for the DLP in the same constituency for over 20 years. When the postman came around, her name was not on the list, and she was asked if she wanted it to put on. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I've been getting complaints as well. I've got to go and check. No postman came to me. But so I need to go and check if my name on there, because I don't want them taking off my name. And when I go there, because it's gonna be hell and powder house if I go there, I cannot vote.
Yes.
You understand? So everybody, you need to go and check. Let me hear Mr. Bob jump in on this before we go back to Mr.
Yes. But the concerns that were raised by the apostle are legitimate, because we just had a by-election where we had two sets of conflicting figures.
Yes.
One was 2,000 more than the other, and the 2,000 less came from the Prime Minister, who appeared, when she made the announcement, to know more about what was the current list than the EBC. Because she refuted that number. I remember, I've never forgotten it. But I'm saying to those listening tonight and who will view later, that do not allow this to frustrate you. It should mobilize us as a people to get up and to ensure that all of our names are on the list. I'm also calling on all the parties, know that their candidates are more or less in the field. That is one of their jobs, so that when you put your own systems in place, you're able to produce who are in those constituencies. So you do not leave it to chance. So every constituency and candidate must be involved within their branches, helping to purge the list, get rid of dead people, and making sure that those persons who are on and living are there, so that they can challenge and go to the EBC and say, look, this is what we have found.
Yeah. Apostle,
Yes,
I,
ma'am.
I'm thinking about, my mind is going back to the St. James North election, when the voters list was overstated by 2,000,
Wow.
not 200. Am I right, Mr. Bob?
2000.
Almost 2,000, yes.
2,000, right? Almost 2,000. I want everybody to listen to it, because that stood out to me, Apostle and
Yes, ma'am.
Bab and viewers, because when I went to Dominica, one of the things that they said to me there, that one of the ways that they are alleging that Mr. Skerritt is in office for so long, is that of the bloated voters list.
Okay.
Their voters list, sir, was more than the voting population of Dominica. And if St. James North is bloated, overstated by over nearly 2,000, multiply that by 30, the chances, Mr. Bob, of all the constituencies being overstated by almost 2,000 is very possible.
That's
It's
right.
very possible.
That's
And
right.
the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what kind of hanky-panky could happen with an overstated voters list, with a bloated voters list, with
Good question.
almost 2,000? The Dominicans are saying that is where they played around in that figure, and we are calling
Yes.
it out on the show, Miss Apostle.
Yes, ma'am. It's very hurtful to know that these are the links that are being taken. And I go back to what I said. I had a gentleman that he grew up in St. Peter. He's migrated to the United States, but he came here and he specifically asked around until he finally got someone who got connected to me. We had a conversation. He told me that he was speaking to a friend of his who he mentioned is a hacker. Okay. And he said in that conversation, he told him that a friend of his who is a Chinese hacker told him, and these are the words that he said, the Chinese hacker told his friend that the people in Barbados are idiots. And he asked him why. He said, do you remember they had the leaking of the list? And he said, and I'm only repeating what was told to me. He said the leaking of the list was only done to mask that we already had it. And he said, we created an algorithm for the Barbados election based on other previous elections. This is information that a guy traveled from Miami, Florida, came to Barbados, who grew up in St. Peter, told me this is what was told to him, to his friend who was a hacker, from a Chinese hacker. So when you're looking at the fact that you want an election, all 30 seats, and then you come back again and have a following election, a snap election, and you still got all 30 seats, something just doesn't smell right. I got to bring in Stalin song here, somebody cooking something and I smelling it. And I can tell you what I'm smelling.
It's not good.
Doesn't smell good. Just doesn't smell good. So if this is the level to which we have taken elections in Barbados right now, our nation, our people must be very careful not to let things like these slide anymore. The leaking of the electoral list in Barbados. To this day, no one has been prosecuted. There's never been a follow-up report given to the people of Barbados. And we have to start letting these things happen, and government promise to investigate things, and there's never any investigation. There's never any public accountability, responsibility, or reaction from the government when these major things happen in our nation. I listened to the Prime Minister recently about investigations into the whole housing fiasco here. But I will go back to when our Prime Minister was Minister of Education. We had 45 million that went missing for EduTech. And Mr. Arthur said there would have been an investigation. There still wasn't any investigation to this day. So this is something that keeps happening over and over and over. And there must be some level of accountability to the people of Barbados. If you've been given the confidence of the people, you must demonstrate that you have a mind for the people. So when we're looking at the fact that a man's father who was dead 14 years is still on the list in 2018, you have not been updating the list. There's no way you can miss someone who's been dead for 14 years. Absolutely no way that you can miss that. So I would guesstimate that, going back since the 1990s, this list has not been updated. And that election, if I remember, 1994, when the Barbados Labour Party won the election and went on for 3 consecutive terms, I might even go that far back before the 2000s came in, that we have not had a real update of the electoral list in Barbados. And this is ridiculous for this to be going on for so long. Since 2018, you want to go back to all of these years that we've been having elections and really ask yourself the question, exactly what have we been doing here in Barbados?
But Apostle, what is now the official? And I keep wondering, what is the official count of persons living in Barbados? No.
Well, from my information that I've written, 283,000
living. How many registered voters are there?
That's the thing.
That's a good question. I don't have that.
So the number is very big. So when you see that list, maybe compare the list to the rest. Something is completely off.
I wonder if Dave could Dave, can you do a quick search for us of the number of registered voters in Barbados
as compared to the population?
Yes.
I'm doing that right now.
Okay. Because finish what you were asking the question,
Yeah.
Mr. Bob. Finish what you're
I finished it. I finished that one. Yes. So get us thinking, because when you see certain things, then you know that something's not right.
Yeah, if we can get those numbers, because if it is that all we have to do is to do some projections, right? And if we're going to take the Prime Minister at her word that the St. James North voters list was approximately 2,000 overstated, then you times that by 30, because I don't think it was just an anomaly. It was just St. James North. I think
right.
that could be, so are we looking at probably, were we overstated by about, say, between 40 to 60,000? And could that make a difference in an election? We've got to understand, I'm going to repeat what I said. If you were to multiply that 2,000 by the 30 seats, you're looking about 60. So let's 60,000 overstated then in the entire voters list. So let's be conservative, Mr. Bob, and we say 40,000. All right? 40,000 over, all the constituencies. Can you win an election with 40,000?
Listen, you can win a constituency by 2 votes after
by
recount.
2 votes.
After recount.
Well,
and what are they doing? Are they doing something funny with that overstated amount? What it is that if they're doing anything, what is it? Anybody has the numbers, even those outside? Can you look for us, please? What is the the entire voters list, voter registration for Barbados? What's the numbers? Anybody? Yeah, because it will not be 280,000 because we have babies, we
But
have children. Yeah.
that's
Any,
in terms of the population. I'm checking the information as we speak, trying to um,
yes. Anybody has that?
And in the meantime, I will make the call for
Yes.
those people, those parties, to start now, to making sure to start purging the list for their own, that for their own interests. Any candidate that is there should have a team in place, making sure that that is happening. And those persons who are coming onto the list for the first time, at least they should know who's going to be turning 18 next year or
Yes.
this
right.
year. That they have
You
work.
know,
Yeah.
Listen.
I've asked the question here, and I'll say this again on the show. When does an ID card become more powerful than your birth certificate?
Yeah, ask it. It's a rhetorical question, so we can leave it there. We
Okay,
can leave it an
because
important question, but let me give you this. Let's stick on the voters list here a little bit. Hold it there, Apostle. Don't forget what you wanted to say. But
yeah,
this I'm seeing here. The source is Electoral and Boundaries Commission, GIS. They're saying the preliminary list in 2022 was 264,000 individuals listed on the preliminary voters list, right? They're saying that it came down to 255,833. So then are we saying that we have a population of, say, probably 30,000 people who are 18 and under? You follow me? Write down the figures, Mr.
Yes,
Bob, and
yes,
let's see.
yes.
Are we saying that? Okay. In 2018, the voters the voters list was 257,995 electors.
And the population.
Right. So now hold those figures and then let's look at
I mean, almost everybody in Barbados can vote.
that's interesting.
yeah, because this are we saying that is only about 30,000 persons we have below 18? We need to do a
Kidding
real
me?
study on this.
Kidding me? That can never be true.
Well, I'm gonna see if I can get a chart. Go ahead, Mr. Bob. Go ahead at the point you were making, Apostle. If you don't,
So
Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, so if that's the reality, you're just saying that in Barbados right now, you just have roughly a handful of people who can't vote or who don't qualify to vote. The majority of Barbados is at the stage where they can vote. I find that kind of difficult to believe.
well, that's what this is saying. About 30,000 people are not eligible to vote. But we really need to look at this in terms of the population makeup of those who are 18 and under. What are the numbers there?
So you're saying that currently, if we do a spread, that you're looking at average of 7,000 to 8,000 voters per constituency.
Yes.
But then when we had a 6,000, I think it was how many persons? Look about St. James North, where it
Right.
was overstated, and look at what was stated first and then what it was after. If we can pull up that, then you
Yes.
get an idea, yes, to see.
Well, yeah, keep going. We're going to find it. I'm going to show viewers, hang in there because this is important. I think we've got to, one of the things, I keep saying they're taking us to idiots, but we're not. we're not. You've got internet there. You've got many things at your disposal that you can use to search these things. Okay, so just hang on. I'm trying to get this to Dave so that he can put it up. Right.
Okay.
So there were at first the EBC said there were 6,000 plus or 7,000 electoral voters in St. James North. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember the exact figure, but then we were told that that was overstated by close to 2,000, which will
Mm-hmm.
bring down to about 5,000, 6,000 eligible voters. But here we have a figure which says to us that almost every constituency will have about 8,000 voters, giving us 240,000 electors. I see that as an Oakland population of 283,000. That don't seem right to me. Then,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
now we understand why they raised the concern about they're not having enough children, because what is left on the 18 is troubling.
there you go. And the reality that with the fact that right now, with the popularity of this present administration leaning, with the fact that so many people are now so disenchanted with them, they have to look to that younger generation, that newer, younger party crowd that can be swayed with events.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to and you can tell that this is already some type of political strategy that is being set in place before we actually get to the election. So we're not having free and fair elections in Barbados anymore, and the time for that has it's come to the place where it must be stopped. Somebody has to do something about it. And again, I'm going to make the plug for those who are head of the respective uh, other political parties in Barbados. We have to get together and we have to have a meeting with the Electoral and Boundaries Commissioner. We have to get the information that we can pass on to the public and let the public know whether or not the list has been updated properly and when was it updated. Because if it has not been updated last year or this year or 10 years ago, then there's something wrong with us going into an election, because with the electoral list in the hands of the wrong persons, we can always have an election that is swayed in the favor of whoever is putting the money up to make sure that they win the government. We can have a serious case where serious election fraud can be committed. And if that is the case, we have to put a stop to it. The people of Barbados should never be under a government who lost an election or who stole an election or rigged an election. They should never be under such a government. And apparently what we're seeing from even our discussion here tonight, which obviously is, we haven't really dug into the depths of, voters lists and all of that, but we know that there's been serious infractions going forward, even in recent times with the St. James North by election. And a lot of the information that I've shared here tonight, this is not just hearsay. I've spoken with the individuals that experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is factual. This is truthful information. This is not trumping up things to make the government look bad. I'm just telling you what the facts are where these are concerned. And as far as I know, in terms of living, you can't be facts.
Yeah. Well, we are going to, I'm not able, I found information, created a PDF, but having difficulty sending it to Dave. But I believe it or not, we're going to have a full breakdown of that on the show. We're going to look at, as Michelle has put up here, the population as of 2021, and how many persons are under 18, because we need to get to the bottom of this and understand this to ourselves and make a demand on the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We're not here, accusing them of anything at all. What we're asking questions, and we want to be able to understand. In the meantime, I'm going to ask everybody to check. You're watching the show, whether you're watching it live or not live. Call the Electoral Boundaries Commission and find out about your name. Is your name on the list? I'm going to do that because there's no way I'm not voting. Before I used to say I'm not voting. I'm very, very serious now. I'm ready to vote. So I'm saying to everybody, check for your name because I'm getting too many calls of people saying, and even messages on here where people are saying that they no longer they used to vote and then their name isn't on it or their mother name is not on it anymore and they used to vote. So something is definitely wrong,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, Marcia, I want that this program is also used to let our viewers know that they have to participate in the electoral process.
Yes, sir.
We are we are we are listed as a developing country. We are listed as one of the countries that illiteracy is in the 90s. Part of showing that level of literacy is participating in the systems of democracy. And one of the main systems of democracy is voting. So I want everybody who's watching tonight to make it their business to check your name, make sure your family is on the list that are eligible to vote. Make sure because that you see us as a country moving towards a developed nation, that we participate in the electoral system. Once we participate, who wins, wins. But we must not allow the world to see us as returning to the backward stage where few people are given the right to vote. We're
Mhm.
moving forward. And we're moving forward, meaning that we have recognized that we have as our responsibility to participate in the electoral process. I
Yes.
think
Yes, sir.
yes.
We have a caller on the line, and I know he had been calling a little bit, but we weren't ready just yet. Good night, Mr. Young. It's a pleasure having you on the Marcia Week Show. Good night.
Yes,
How are
good
you?
night. My battery may go along for me, so let me give it correct.
Yes.
This particular administration are professional liars. So you don't be surprised at anything that they're doing or hear that they're doing. They're professional liars. Everything they tell you is a lie. So don't let them kind of fool you. But when they come here with the voices, they can sit down for my step and we can go through everything. Then get the way I can tell up, sit down here on the step and we'll get yourself set now. They're a bunch of liars and they give the impression them coming new things. All the things that they are saying they're coming with were things that was there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of professional liars. But then get the way with not me when they come, I just say, madam or male, you sit down on the step and let me go through straight through, let me go through. I just can't do that, I come in for the program and I don't know.
Yes.
You don't check it for his neighborhood. He check it for the entire neighborhood.
You're going to check for everybody, your whole family and the whole neighborhood.
You know what I'm saying? Gonna show me who dead, go to the line, and they're gonna show me who living.
Because I know you
So
probably.
they come here with a little chicky, and then call it, you see, at my age, years I am born yesterday, they can't come and teach me nothing. They play around with our voices, just call that, them know that's how you win the election.
Mm-hmm.
When you can play with these voices there, and put on this, that dead 20-something years, and you ain't gonna have the people out there for it.
Yes.
And so there's a bunch of professional liars.
Professional liars, I'm telling you, because they professionally.
They're not amateur liars, they're professional liars. All of them.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to vote them out. Do our best. Listen, I say even if I put a stick in there, they need to come out.
They need to get rid of. It's the only way that you will get things to run real correct about the place.
Yes.
Got to get rid of that one.
Yes, and cut all the waste and the corruption.
They're pocket holders. They're pocket holders and telling people all like that food's ready. And if you watch the people who is the principal and some who is the head of the affair, they shake their head like a turkey. They're looking at who talking, then they shake their head like a turkey and looking up in the air. You ever
Yes.
see how a turkey is shake their head?
Yes, yes. But you know,
That's how she was looking up and he says and shaking. She had to look up through and come back.
but you know, Mr. Victor, I want to say something with you here on the line. I want to hear your thoughts on this. You know, today I got a call from someone, and you know, who was telling me something about the geriatric hospital. You believe, Mr. Young and guests, that there was a nurse during the time. Uh-huh.
I talked to Franklin today. I called Franklin and tell Franklin today. Out of all them nurses, you could only find them protect the sex or someone to find their way out of them. I thought was a victimization.
Yes.
You don't sit and eat in the kitchen. They get to really does all that.
Well, this particular nurse, you know, she felt that she had that thing that was going around. Why does it slip help me, Mr. Bob? Where are
Scabies.
the scabies? Because there was an outbreak of scabies in the geriatric, and so she told the head nurse there that she had scabies. They told her, no, 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 it's not scabies. It's probably because she's getting older in age. Why, you know?
That's what they're telling the people.
Yes.
They want to tell the people the truth.
But she went to the doctor, and the doctor one look at her and told her she had scabies. She went back and let them know, and they were offended because she went to the doctor and let them know.
They don't want her to go to the doctor.
No, they did not. They did not. And guess what? They now added her name.
She could belong work or they want to cover up that they're wicked. They're a bunch of wicked. They're no good.
Yes. So what I was saying, Mr. Young, they went and added her name, and is now moving her. She lives in St. Michael, and they're putting that woman who is 59, almost 60 years old, to take 3 buses to get to St. Lucie.
Right, what I told you, once you're not eating in their kitchen, and they're don't think that you believe, because it's not like you believe belonging to them, so they give me some good treatment. But when you realize that belongs in the body, they try to ease off the self a little bit, right? So there's a good liar.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for calling, Mr. Young.
Right.
Yes. Well, you know, as I was saying today, I was every time I hear about these nurses, it is so disturbing. It is so disturbing because all of these nurses, all they did was to stand up for not just for themselves, but for the other elderly, for the elderly patients at the geriatric. And so it is their belief that because they stood up and say, you can't put patients that have scabies with those that don't have scabies. And they said, no, but we are not working on a ward that with patients with scabies, and there's no protection for us. And guess what? Their name turned up on a list. These people are from my understanding, and I don't know if any of the nurses, you know, when they can't call in, I can't tell them to call in because they can't call in. But my understanding is that nurses will have to take 3 buses to get to St. Lucie, to get to work for 7:30. So one would just have to imagine what time they're going to get. They have to wake up, Mr. Bob and Apostle,
Yes.
get to
Yes, ma'am.
to get on that bus to get to St. Lucie. We're not talking about young people here. We're talking about people who have been working at the hospital for over 15 years and more. Right? The shortest is 15 years, been working there. They have people that they have hired. New people have been hired. And they're not sending those new people there. They're sending these 7 who defied them. And just in trying to do their jobs properly. Okay?
I recall how the trash Senator Worrell for talking about the whole situation. Remember?
There's a caller, so I'm not hearing you well. I think that when there's a caller.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yes, caller, go right ahead, please.
Yes, good night. Good night to the panel as well. I am actually very annoyed because some person will say, well, you don't live out here anymore. What you got to be annoyed about? But the truth is, if what I am hearing is true or has any truth to it, a minister that was in charge of health, not just once, but more than once, I think he had that ministry more than once in more than one sitting, ought to be ashamed of himself, because whether he is doing it complicitly or implicitly, that should not be allowed to stand in Barbados. And what really gets me even more concerned is that, well, first of all, I must commend the show this evening as it relates to being proactive. That the elections in Barbados this time around don't. Well, I don't know if it would be right to say that the elections are not that the elections don't get Guyana. And the reason I'm saying that, I wouldn't really go into that, but is of what I believe would have happened there too. But getting back to this situation, scabies and it shows anybody that knows about hospital and hospital management, it shows that there is a great level of mismanagement, but not just in a short space of time, but it would have had to be in a prolonged period of mismanagement, because scabies only settling after a prolonged mismanagement. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I am actually annoyed that this level of vindictive and spiteful oversight as it relates to the health as well as the school, the Ministry of Education, is allowed to be. And my last point is this: a chief education officer better get her act together as it relates to this kind of declaration without checking, that kind of thing. To me, what I think that the ministers don't understand, especially those who sit in air-conditioned rooms, is that when you disappoint children that are very destitute or that come from very poor backgrounds, and for some, school is the only space that resembles a measure of order outside of what they may have as chaos in their home environment. And when a child comes to a school environment and is disappointed that the school environment is also in chaos, it is almost like a double whammy, as Belgians would say, a double whammy. So I don't think that politicians understand the measure of damage that they do to a child, and not only to a child, but the child's morale when a school environment is not as it ought to be.
Yes.
Good point. Good point.
Very good point.
Good point. Caller, hello.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm still listening.
Okay. I was making sure we can hear you on the call. No, but it was a very good point, and I'm not sure, as I said, that they truly do understand. And when you think about, I mean, if you go back to the whole public sector, the way people are just being treated, the way they're treating the children, the way they're treating the teachers, the way they're teaching. Look at these nurses. Think about it. They were standing up for themselves and also for their patients, and now they're being spanked, basically. And a lot of the nurses are very worried about it, because I didn't get to finish saying to the viewers that, do you know they have to get to work for 7:30 when they're doing the morning shift. Then sometimes they have to leave work at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and have to get home.
Wow.
The buses are not, as somebody said, what buses? They don't run well. And they're coming from St. Lucie. Why couldn't they send some of the newer, the nurses that have just started working, the younger people? Why are you going to take up a 60-year-old woman and put her on a bus, 3 buses? That is so wrong. That is so wrong.
No, Marcy, you are being very cute. I think you are so accustomed to being, you are not data and thing. But no, call it by its name. It's called vindictive. What I think two very last points. It was alleged, you can do your own research. I can give you some information as well, as it relates to the alleged mistreatment by patients, a patient, maybe more than one, but a patient for sure, at the same geriatric, in terms of advances that are not conducive And what I think that does is like, oh, the person might feel, oh, nobody gonna believe he or nobody gonna believe she crazy or something like that. But that has to be watched too, because it seems to be coming up too often with this particular individual. They can get that. I can. And then lastly, I think that nurses on the ground have to open their mouth, because you cannot have your healthcare providers in environments of squalor and expect that they're going to administer top-notch care. It just can't work. It just cannot work.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, thank you so
That's
much.
all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
All
you
the
for
best.
calling. Always
All the best.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You
Good
know,
points. Good points.
that is it is just so unjust, boss. And I think these are things that the church, if this is if what they're saying is really what is happening, what was sad, the church should get involved in things like this. One of the things that I got to understand, it's that the unions, their hands are kind of tied, because the remainder of the nurse body, the others in the nurse's body, the body of nurses, what am I saying? They are unwilling. They're unwilling to go on a strike or to do anything, because they said, I have the notes here, they said the last time that they did, they were punished by the prime minister. This is the situation of what I want Barbados to hear what I'm saying. This is where our nurses are, the position they're in. Those who want to support said the last time they took money out of their pay. You understand? For standing up. Okay? They took money out of their pay for standing up. And so the thinking is that I don't want to go out and to do anything
and lose money again and lose a display or something like that. Yes.
pay, because things are so hard financially. And the way it was put, the prime minister, you remember they actually blocked their money. You remember that they went and blocked their
Yes,
account.
at the bank. Yes.
They are being victimized and victimized and victimized, and they're told they cannot go to social media. The nurses cannot go to social media. These are the same nurses who are saying sometimes at the Geriatric Hospital that the female nurses are running from the rats, and the male nurses are trying to kill the rats.
Look,
Yep.
this place is a mess, and they want us to keep quiet. If the nurses can't speak for themselves, we will speak for them.
Yep.
If the nurses are going to be victimized because they bring to our attention what is happening in their workspaces, because it is the responsibility of the government to provide a safe environment for its workers. And
That's
it can become even more irresponsible when those persons bring attention to what that they're lacking, or they're falling down in their responsibility, that you want to push them, and it's a punishment, because it can't be, and it's so low, and they're not thinking, if I am doing a transfer of nurses, it could not be just those 6 or 7. You single out those nurses because they complain. With the nurses are not stupid. The general Barbadian public are not stupid. And I will keep saying that we have to keep a lot of noise about this, because it is the nurses today, and then it's going to be somebody else tomorrow.
Yeah. That's
We
true.
can't allow that kind of victimization to go unchecked, because they would think that they can do it with anybody else.
You know what? Apostle, this bothered me today, honestly, because when I realized that the nurses, they cannot post, they cannot go to the media, they can't say anything publicly about this. And when I checked the ages of these nurses, to think that somebody would want to do that to somebody else, it's just, and we talk all the time, Apostle, about what white people do to black people, and sometimes it's the same black people, the same ones. You remember the ones who used to be on the plantation, and they were what do you call those? What do you call them?
The house slaves.
Not the house slaves, but the ones on the plantation, the
Uh-huh.
ones, the ones who used to keep everybody in line.
We used to call them the bookkeepers.
Yes.
Yes, those ones. I
Mhm.
think, and here it is that they're doing that this to the people. But there's another caller, and then Apostle, you will go. Caller, welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
I have a query.
Yes, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Come again?
I was saying, welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Okay, thanks. Question: would it be possible for when the Electoral and Boundaries Commission has concluded the investigation, updating the list, for the general public to check the voters list? Would that be given to us?
I don't know.
Yes, it is usually given. They usually say that you can come and check. They usually do that.
Yeah.
I'm
What I was told is that
yes, yes. They usually you can go to schools as well. But I'm not saying I'm saying to us, don't wait. Don't leave it for chance. You ensure you're on the list. Yes.
Yeah.
The reason why I asked, yesterday one of the persons came to my district, and this what happened upon me, and I was helpful to them in terms of the names that they were asking about, etc. And people from my district, because we eventually quite a few families in my district, and some of them were not living in the district now for many years, and some of them were overseas. But they were still assigned on the voters list for my district. And I decided to ask the question to find out if my parents' name were on the list. They're very years apart, and as recent as my mother in 2023. Then one of the neighbors, I was going through the family list with him, and then he called a name, and I was like, oh, is that name still on the voters list? He died before my mom, who died in 2022.
oh boy.
So I told him he needs to make sure that that name comes off the list. Now I'm assuming that he probably put an X to it or tick to it or whatever to show that that person is no longer alive because they've been dead now a couple of years. So that's why I asked the question as to if you can go and check the list, and even by district. Because if you were in a district long, you were not going to see the people in your district, so you can probably check through, let's say you were living in Queen's Park and you got 100 persons in that district. So you are able to go through and see, okay, yeah, I know this person is overseas, or this person is dead, or this person is alive, or this person will go. Just to make sure that, it is what it really is stated.
Yeah, so you were doing like Victor Young, let's sit on the step and going through the list. Well, we have to take responsibility because a bloated voters list can be misused.
Yes.
Yeah, but thank you so much, caller. Yeah, go ahead. You're not finished.
When you do go to vote, your name is checked on the list. I don't know if when your name is checked, if there's a tick placed beside it as a person present to vote. To show you voted. Nothing but that the fact that you voted.
Right.
So that you know that what percentage might have voted or not voted or whatever. That right. I don't know if that information is done. And if it's going to the public, or at least public to have access to it, so that not just be told.
Yes.
So that we police the whole process.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
We would need better outside sources coming in to watch over what we do.
Yes. But caller, that come October 1st, if that immigration bill is passed, then we're going to have an influx of people into this country, and they're going to, after a short period of time, they're going to be eligible to vote. So that's a whole nother set of people to be added to the voters list.
So we need to have nations need to be made to have those persons becoming eligible is legal and suitable for the country as a whole. Don't send me 2 months, they'll be here 2 months and they're eligible. They should be given a time period to become eligible to vote. Not 6 months, not even maybe a year, maybe even longer.
No, but already it says 6 months. I'm almost sure that's what I read in the immigration bill. You should take a look at it. And that's the thing about it. We have to get reading and knowing what is going to happen by October 1st. Go and check it out.
I could go visit a country for 6 months.
Well, that's one of the bills that they passed when the people were walking up and drinking, Mr. Bob, and saying that's one of the bills that was passed.
But you know, and it's such a joke, and I can't understand. I went over during the vacation. I went over to the States, and I got my passport stamp, and I had up to 6 months to stay in the country. It gave me no right to vote. How is that happening here?
Precisely. Precisely.
Something is wrong with that.
Well, you know, those are things that I mean, and it's gone, passed already, because they're gearing up for elections. Caller, thank you so much for calling. We have a couple other callers waiting, but you're giving us homework, and I think that's good. That with the vigilance is important.
Okay, thank you. You're
yes,
welcome.
Thank you. You know, this is so important. You know, go ahead, Apostle Scantlebury. I think you were saying something, and then let me set up the next caller.
Well, here's the other part that I mean, we also have Barbadians that they live abroad from all over the world. What is the Electoral and Boundaries Commission going to be doing in relation to those Barbadians who live abroad who are eligible to vote, and the Barbadians who lived abroad that has passed on? Okay, what are they going to be doing to put that in place before the upcoming election? Because I am simply saying you cannot have the voters list ready by the time the next general election is ready to be had. You can't do it. The elections are constitutionally due in 2026. You don't have that time to make sure that the voters list is in right standing to move forward towards the election. You just don't have the time, and you don't have the manpower. You certainly don't have the technology. So, I mean, how are you going to be ready time the next election? I would really like to find out what's their modus operandi to be adequately prepared to move towards this upcoming election.
I'm telling, this is a serious thing, and I want the people in the diaspora to read that comment on there, because I read that comment on the screen. The people you watching in the diaspora, read the comment from Carol on the screen, and think about what Apostle Scantlebury is saying. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Good night.
Yes, good night. Can you speak up a little for me? Can you hear?
Sure.
No.
Sure.
Are you hearing, Apostle?
Very faintly.
Very faintly.
I will raise my voice.
Yes.
Good.
I want to go back to the date of the truth. I'm asking a question. I want to know what has happened at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, because we had an issue there. The chief electoral office has either resigned or retired. Up to the day, we haven't known the name of the new chief electoral officer. Then we heard the chairman, because the present Chief Justice was the chairman of the UDC.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear the new chairman name which was supposed to be a chairman of another board, the sanitation, moved over to the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, which means he is chairman of two boards.
Mm-hmm.
But really, electors need to have our voices raised and ask what's going on at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Because as far as I can remember, in my area, we had an officer who uses a camera. This man was also the cameraman. And Martha, you could believe me, if you die this month,
Mm-hmm.
by the next 2 weeks, he is out there. And he is asking, and he has the picture of you to find out how long that person has been passed.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he can find somebody, he would come and ask you, right? The second person that came after him after he retired, even if you were sick, Marcia,
Mm-hmm.
and you need a new ID card, this man would come home at you and take your picture, and you could either even get your ID card.
Mm.
But when we go back to the 2018 election,
Yes.
an election in the 2000 election followed the pandemic that we had. If you look at it carefully, Marcia, from what I'm hearing you all say tonight, in every constituency, we had, let's say, a constituency where you live in has 1,500 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a rough estimation. Marcia, only half of those people voted. What happened to the other half? And if you take the 30 constituencies, you're looking at them, right? In the districts where they had certain polling stations, if that polling station had 800 people, only 400 voted, turned out and voted. This is counted out with the day we cannot get the figures out of the Electoral and Boundaries Commission of the last election.
Mm.
Right? So when we talk about things turning upside down or downside up, Martin, nowadays you have to go to the Electoral and Boundaries Commission to register. This should never happen. I know you have someone now walking around asking questions. You have electoral officers where what has become a day. You need to cut back so far that you can't find electoral officers. You got to take the postman now from working and ask them to be electoral officers. Huh? We need to read and come again. You know, going wrong at the electoral department. It needs a shake-up.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Time that
agreed.
will get up and understand what's going on. We have people from outside who
Yes.
could tell you if you ask them, because my name was on the list, and they lived here for years. Some died, and their name is still on the list. What's going on at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission? Furthermore, Pastor Salisbury said they had Chinese. Chinese was working at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Go back to COVID. The COVID, and you hear there was names leaked from the COVID department, people's names. Huh? That they claim that had COVID. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
All these kinds of we need a proper system to people and barriers sit down and relax to happily.
Correct. Yes.
You know, and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
your country people will get the mark, but in barriers, they are passive people. Do anything and you sit down.
And you sitting down. Well, I'm so glad you called tonight and you keep calling. And you sound like one of those seniors that I have a plan to visit you, you know, and to sit down and talk to you. So you look for me. I'm going to give you a call. I'm working on a schedule to come and sit down and talk with you. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Oh, can you remind us how young you are again? He's gone. I think he's 84 years old. But you know, I got a message here, Apostle
Yes, ma'am.
and Mr. Bob. I got a message here from somebody from St. George South. Okay, and they're saying that that yesterday that Peter Wickham sent out people yesterday in St. James South. Peter Wickham, did you do this, or they're blaming you? I don't know. Peter Wickham sent out
He
people.
must be completing doing a poll, a cadres poll, for his frontline.
That's
He
what
probably is. He
they
probably is.
said,
Yeah.
that a survey he was conducting a survey asking people how they think the government is performing, right? Like they're gathering information to assess the outcome of the election. And I asked the person, but where do you live? Do you live in the constituency? They said yes. And she said she said that she didn't answer them when they asked her. And I said, how do you know it was from Peter Wickham? And she said, they told me that they work for cadres. Okay. And I think that's his company. So he's out already. And the person was in Denny Road, Thorpe, St. James. And
Okay, yes.
that is next to Sandra Husband's office. So they are already going out, and I'm trying to gather information. As somebody said, no wonder Mr. Wickham is so confident in who will win the election.
I just want persons listening, because sometimes the information that keeps coming back to us as if there's no hope and there's no chance for us as a people to get rid of this group because of how organized they are. But I'm saying that do not allow that to frustrate you. It should mobilize you.
Right.
Get up and say, oh no, you should be scared, even more scared now. And then it should make you you should get more determined to say, look, this is not happening. We will not allow it. I'm going to go. I'm going to make sure that my name is and my family name is on the electors list. I am going to make sure that my family, because of how we see Barbados and how concerned we are, that we're going to participate in the process. This should be a mobilizing, what we are hearing tonight should be the mobilizing factor on what we do to save the country.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. There's a caller, Apostle.
Okay.
It's their time, so let them. Caller, welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Hello, good night.
Good night, caller. Go right ahead. But you have to turn down your devices because I can hear myself. I hear myself on your TV or your laptop or something.
Yeah. Okay, good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
This is much better.
I'm calling because I need to deal with two topics.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to start with the beginning. When the head of anything is bad, everything is bad.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem in Barbados. My first thing is the minibus problem. The minibus problem is the crux of the matter in Barbados for the crime and for the problem with the little children. There's a thing going around creating the havoc with the little children in order to create havoc in the country. The minibus problem is the crux of the matter. I don't understand why people don't check and see what is going on, because they don't only encourage these little children to be bad, but they make a lot of collection points in Eagle Hall and all different town and all different places where they collect the little children. And due to what goes on in the bus, you have prostitution, you have all sorts of things going on and making the little children bad. That is the first point. Number two, with the elections, they came into my area.
Yes.
And the job of this government is to pack the voters list, like Mr. Thorne has said. It is a fact. It's about time that we wake up and see what's going on in Barbados. They're packing the voters list. This thing about CARIFESTA citizens voting, this is historic. Because, and it's going to cause a riot in Barbados, number one. Believe me, you can't just come into our country and bring people in to vote to disrupt what the people of the country say.
Exactly.
It's time that the people hear and understand and make sure it doesn't come to that stage. They are not as passive as people think.
Correct.
We are a different kettle of fish. If we go back to the years when they were called the Three Blind Mice, this was the same thing in Barbados. When this government was voted out, 27 to 3. It's about time that the people wake up and see and know what's going on in Barbados. A lot of people are seeing, but threatening the people, sometimes it works,
sometimes it makes things 10 times as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't the people wake up and see before it comes to that crisis? Have a nice night.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh boy, I mean, I tell you, I know that issue for me, Apostle and Mr. Bob, the fact that somebody could just come in, that's what they did in Guyana. In Guyana, you saw the Chinese lining up and voting. What a thing! Chinese that don't even speak English. I spoke with Coretta McDonald. They had people from other countries don't speak any English in the line to vote, but they had an ID. Apostle, she's coming on Sunday night to tell us about that, and that is what they want to happen. And you have Bajans in the diaspora that they won't allow them to vote,
That still have their Barbados ID, still carry their Barbados passports.
and they're not making any
And
allowances
they,
for them.
no, but you got somebody who will land here and within 6 months make a decision for the majority of our Barbados. That is crazy.
Well, that's what Mr. Thorne is fighting, and they brought that bill. They brought that bill, and Miss McLean, if you're listening, and because we went through that bill, if I'm saying anything wrong, send me a message. But I remember that bill. We went through that, and I know Vihoy send me back the stuff 6 months. 6 months. I have another caller. Caller, go right. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. Good to have you. Go right ahead, please.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Can you hear her?
Yes.
Just speak a little louder for me, Mom.
You can call my name Marcy. It doesn't bother me. I'm sweet, 16, and militant.
You're sweet 16 and
Anyhow,
militant.
it is possible, though, for polls to be rigged.
Yes.
They're just random samples. And if you are aware of how a household votes, you can deliberately visit 75% BLP residents and 25% of the other party. It's as simple as that. People say outright, we vote for the B's, we vote for the D's, year in and year out. So that's just common sense. Ain't a rocket science. That's my contribution for the night. Stay safe and bless up.
Thank you. Thank you, sweet 16. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, she was making the point that that's about pollsters who can play with the psyche of the voting public when they do their polling, and they can go to the polling districts that traditionally support who they want. And we know that there are pollsters in Barbados who are leaning towards this government in a big way. So therefore, they are not going to go and produce a poll that says the election is going to go the other way, because then it influences the people.
Yeah.
I remember when in 2018, the pollsters knew that this was going to be a big turnaround in the election, that the DLP would have lost heavily. But they kept quiet because we as Barbadians knew and know that we like opposition. And if you're going to say to the public, your policy to you, but these people are going to lose all the seats, it might trigger some constituencies to get up and say, no, that can't happen. So that is how posters who favors a particular party or the government in power can skew and manipulate the results in such a way that it plays with the psyche. I want the public to, because we were told already, polls don't vote, and we have to prove that. And I
Yeah.
was saying that some of these things may be seem frustrating, but it should be a mobilizing tool for all of us.
Let me let Mrs. Apostle Canterbury give a quick comment, and there's another caller. Go ahead, Apostle. Oh boy, you're muted. 1 second. Ooh, you're muted. Unmute, please. Um, Go ahead.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me agree with what Mr. Bob is saying here. You know, I told someone in relation to going forward into the election, we have those individuals that consistently just vote for the Barbados Labour Party. That is the most dangerous vote we have in Barbados right now, because that is not a vote for the future of Barbados. That's not a vote for the future of our children. It's the most dangerous vote that we have in the island right now. Those individuals just said, well, we're accustomed doing this. So it's, you know, it's a traditional vote. It's really, as people say, a silly vote, because you want your country to be better, but you don't see that going past this current administration can actually make your country better. And over and over again, we're consistently bombarded with the idea of, you know, that this present administration, with all of the errors, with all of the lies, with all of the deceptive tactics, with all of the cybercrime bill, with all of the Trident ID card, with all of the transparency bill, and all of these things that they've brought to the public that they've never followed through on. It's just, again, lie after lie. The fact that this government lays down in bed with the drug dealers, the drug pushers, the fact they know them, they meet with them, they discuss with them, they have them come to their swearing in. It's right in front of the public, and it's awful that well-meaning people. This is the issue. You know, I would rather that the children of Israel be like, Barbados be like the children of Israel. At least they got results from God. But to be consistently in a place where even Mr. Abbas is saying, I've never seen it like this, and yet the central bank is saying Barbados is doing well, the foreign reserves are up 2.5%. You got all of this economic growth. And then at the backdrop of that, you got millions missing. You got a leader that's traveling around the world, jet setting around the world, borrowing money from whoever is willing to loan money to them, putting the island in more and more debt over and over again. And yet we don't seem to have a consensus, cautious, ideal among our population to look at where the island is going, what is happening in the island. Even now with all of the systems with the school, the lying that, you know, we're going to be ready by the time the school year approaches, and now we're realizing they're not ready. So is this constant inadequate, you know, very, very almost mastermind psychological mastery that they have over a certain sector of the public of Barbados, where they believe that they can keep lying to the people and, you know, pulling the wool over the people's eyes, and then at the same day, you know, still will turn around and vote for us. Is that type of behavior. So now we're seeing like all of these rules being fixed at one time, and it's crazy for Barbados to think that's how we win a vote from you. We just come and fix your road, give you a sidewalk, give you, you know, asphalt, and make the road smoother, and that should guarantee an election victory. Listen, the time has really come for Barbados to wake up, stop this nonsense of just sitting back hoping that, you know, this is going to make your country better. Our country is going down the drain, and we have to stem the tide. We have to stop the flow. We have to do what is necessary now to make sure that come 2016, 2017, Barbados is not in a worse condition it's in right now. So I think it's critical for individuals to look at the future of Barbados, pay attention to the future of Barbados, because since 2018, they have never presented a vision to this nation as to where we're going to be in 5 or in 10 years. So I think, you know, what we are hearing right now, and the people must carry this ideal that they have. If you're tired, if you're fed up, you've had enough, you need to carry that through to the next election and do what is necessary to make sure that come 2016, Barbados has a new government that can deal with all of the ills. That's
but hold it right there, guys. There's a caller. Don't forget what you were saying, Mr. Bob. Caller, thank you so much for your patience. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here, Marcia.
Yes, really, really sorry about that, but you know the program is going hot. Yes, what's on your mind?
I don't mind. I'm listening. I love to hear the apostles talking. That's the honest
Yes.
truth.
Go right ahead. It's a pleasure to have you, sir. Go right ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Well, good night to the panel.
Yes.
Good night. Good night.
Apostle Canterbury, Mr. Bob. What I would say to you all is that I remember you hear you all talking earlier about the minivans. I think it was the young lady that she came. I can't remember her name. But she came on, she was talking about the minivan, the lewdness and thing that was on these vans and stuff. And this thing has been going on for a very long time. But what I'm going to say, we are in the process now, or rather, the government is in the process now of trying to introduce a taint law. A taint law. So, if they are trying to introduce a taint law, which is nonsense as far as I'm concerned, why can't they introduce a law that takes care of minivans and ZFs? Now, the reason why they can't get it done is because of who owns these things.
Good point.
Things are not owned by typical Bajans anymore. One thing you had families that would have a minivan, particular minivans within the Bajan family. Now these things are actually belonging to senior police officers now. You have the Indians who chiefly owns the most of them now. You also had some magistrates, judges, and those people so that would have very small businesses going on with them. So therefore, you cannot get them regulated.
Okay, good point.
So that is one of the major problems going on with the transport system in Barbados, and it's going to the dogs. The transport system is going to the dogs.
Yes, sir.
So, now, what I'm going to say is to the schools. These schools, for years, every time school is ready to start, you have people going to the schools like 2-3 weeks before school starts. School was used to be out for 9 weeks. They're out 8 weeks now. You want to tell me that when you know that school is coming out, just before school come out, weeks before school come out, all of these contractors should know which school they're going to by that time, because you already know what problems the school have. So you should be going into the schools at that time. As soon as a week after the school, the children come out to school, you should be in the schools, getting the schools sorted out.
Yes.
So that when it comes a 2 weeks before school is ready to start, an inspection is done to make sure that if anything, there are minor things that need to be done and not nothing major. And we keep repeating the same damn nonsense every year. Every year.
Good Lord.
So we need to get it right. This government in particular, this is the worst government ever seen in Barbados.
Whoa.
First thing I'm going to tell you is that the thing is, this Prime Minister here now, she is the one, she making people believe smoking marijuana is legal. It is not legal. Now we have a group of people, a whole host of our young people. You could be driving, Marcia, on the highway, and you smelling the marijuana coming from the vehicle that in front of you.
Yes.
You have minivan men and smoking marijuana. They're drinking all the different alcohols. And I can't understand why nobody can see this thing. It is very, very crazy, and it's going to get to a point where something very serious is going to happen in this country. And you need to put a stop to it. No, ever since they were supposed to stop. Because she has created a whole group of zombies walking around Barbados. You have youngsters, walking with everybody with the scissors in the hand and chopping up things in the palm of the hand. It looks crazy.
Yeah.
So what this is going to look like? This is crazy. But anyhow, I do enjoy the show. I would always continue to listen to the show because I would never call them for them stock shows or anything. Waste of time.
No, dear.
You cannot express yourself. You cannot say anything against these people.
Pretty much.
They have you cut off.
Yeah.
You are muted. And I know better than they'll come up with and say things that are untruths to people. But these people cut you off and tell you say B. They don't know whether they're talking about a B firm or what, but I tell you say B.
Yeah.
So I would say this show, I will ask you all to make sure this show continues, and I will always support this show. Good night to you all.
Good night.
Good
Very passionate call tonight, and we really appreciate your call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Wow. Apostle, I saw. I don't believe in. I believe there's some reparations for the Rastas. I genuinely believe that, but I don't. As I said to Rastimba, and I would have said to Lumumba, I have a problem with seeing young men all over Barbados, digging out their hand middle. Up to this morning, I said it to Dave. You saw the men that were sitting down, older men, young people. Early morning, we go walking, and you see them digging up their hand middle. That's not. We never knew. I've been here 20-something years. That's not what I know Barbados saw, and I know that there's going to be a problem. And again, don't mix up apples and oranges. I am not talking about reparations of the Rastafari. I'm not talking about using the sacrament and whatever. I am talking about the social use of marijuana where we have not done proper studies. We don't know what we're handling. We don't know.
Exactly.
We don't understand it.
Exactly. Let me just say this quickly, and even in that area of reparations, until we deal with black on black crime, and I had this conversation years ago with Dr. Eichel Tafari. I met with him when he was over the Pan-African Commission. And I told him straight off, because they were talking about reparations then all the way back with Reverend Laurier. And I, they were saying, I said, you guys say that Egyptians are black people. You say that Abraham was a black man, Isaac was black, Jacob was black. I got all that. David, all those folk were black. I said, so my Bible tells me that the Egyptians enslaved the Israelites. So if the Egyptians were black and the Israelites were black people, that's the first state of slavery, black on black crime. And I told him, all that has happened is that the white folk took what we were doing to each other and monetized it and became rich from it. Okay, so a lot of these things that we are messing around with, black on black crime, that is where money is being put in Barbados to make sure that our young black men are constantly in that state to commit crimes against black people because they're not breaking into the houses of the whites, the Indians, the Chinese. They're not breaking into the rich and wealthy houses. They're interfering with their own kind. They're shooting their own kind. So we have black on black crime. Okay, and until we stop putting money and we start passing laws and we start allowing what will, the music on the public service vehicles, disturbing the consciousness of our young men and our children while they're on their way to school and from school, until we deal with the issue of ending black on black crime, whether it is through music, whether it's through finances, whether it's through drug laws, whether it's through eroding our educational system, whatever or wherever money is being used to erode the right foundations and structures, and then allow for more black on black crime, we're not going to get a hand on our society. And I shared that with Dr. Tafari years ago, and it's still in my mind, the same principle. Until we can stop crying on each other, we're not going to go anywhere as a people.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's these shows have been going a little over, and the people asking for extra time. We're not doing no more closing tonight, but
Yes, ma'am.
we're closing. But before we go, I just on the screen there, I'm very passionate about the nurses. Mr. Bob from the geriatric hospital,
Yes.
7 women, and it might not be 700 women. It's only 7 women, but these are 7 women that are almost 60 years old. I'm very what's the word? I'm traumatized on their behalf to think that they would have to take these 3 buses to St. Lucie to go to work for 7:30 in the morning, which means that they have to get up about 4:30 to get on this bus and then to get home at night. And we know what is happening in our society. So before we close, I want us to remember that. I want us to remember the police who cannot march. They cannot put anything on social media, but they have been owed their hazard pay for 5 years, not 5 days. This is unjust. What about the prison officers?
Yeah.
5 years. The nurses, 5 years they have not been paid. And I'm saying to us Barbadians, as we end this program, I want us to go to bed thinking about them. And I want to say to every group, the prisoners, the nurses, the police, the prison officers, I meant, the police service, get ready to vote them out, even if they pay you before election. Remember, there's a thing called inflation. I'm coming to you, Apostle. Remember,
Yes,
there's a thing called inflation. You would have lost some of your money already. They are going to try because we're going back on the streets and we're going to march for the nurses, the police officers, the prison officers. But they're going to pay your money. I'm telling you, because we're not going to stop. But let me tell you, don't forget that what they pay you is not really what it is, because inflation would have eaten some of your money up. The 5 years would have gone. You hear? And make sure every one of you vote them out. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, let me say this in 30 seconds. We're making a demand right now because both Mr. Bob and I, we know where that hospital is. And we know it's not the easiest hospital to get to unless you have transportation. And if someone is coming from St. Philip, they have to take the first bus, which is either 6 o'clock to get to Bridgetown, when this first bus is leaving at 6 o'clock. So if you're leaving St. Philip at 6 o'clock to get the 6 o'clock bus in Bridgetown, that's not going to happen. That's coming to St. Lucie or coming to Pike Corner. So we want to make a demand that the Ministry of Health and Wellness provide transportation for these nurses to get to that destination. We want to make a demand on them to provide transportation to and from their homes to that hospital. We make a demand on that right now.
Well, they don't want to go. They don't want that transfer because they transferred. They believe they didn't do anything wrong. They're being punished.
I'll tell you, on some levels, it'll be better for them to get out of the rut and get out of the rat race and be in an environment that is even more serene, because that is a really serene area. Trust me.
They don't want it. I've been speaking with people. They don't want it, Apostle.
But we make a demand on that, because I understand how these people work, but you never know. Sometimes change is good.
Yeah. Yes. Mr. Bob, any final comments before we
I just want the people of Barbados and those who are listening to understand that they have it within their grasp to do something about what we have been complaining about since 2019.
Yeah.
We lost the opportunity in 2022 because they said that the DLP was not ready. They have continued to perpetuate that narrative. When this current government was elected, nobody asked or carried out a test to tell the public of Barbados that they were ready. No test was given. We knew the Barbados knew that we were not satisfied with the current government, and we took the decision that you were not working our best interests, and we voted you out. This government is not working in our interests. Let us
Pretty
do
much.
the same thing.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so. Very much so. Well, gentlemen, it's been an amazing night again. One very, quite dynamic. Stephanie Williams, if you're listening, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being on, Mr. Bob, and of course, Apostle Canterbury.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
And to Dave, who is doing a lot of the background work. Thank you, and to everybody. Somebody wants us to play Spot the Light at this hour. But to all of the viewers who are on, thank you. Thank you so very much. By God's grace, we will be on again on Sunday. Hoping to have Coretta McDonald from Guyana. She's trying to be on for Sunday. But thank you all, everybody, for joining tonight. God bless you. Let's see what David's going to play. Vote them out.
Your vote will decide our destiny.
Good night.
Vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can foretell our country's fate. Move and use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, pay the honor doubt. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is they prove it to be only full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now that change should come about, just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out. Vote them out with total scorn and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power, dominate their reign. Let's put our country together again. If for 30 years you voting them in, and it's only tears as soon as they win. They give you big words and enslave your souls, promising you roads and giving potholes. If they are the reason why the economy goes sprout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the passing laws that them alone can flout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the building eyesores, east, west, north and south, the same way you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Rescue the country, vote them out. Vote them out with tempo, they have we in pain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out with calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again. If their policy is a fallacy, bureaucracy, a catastrophe, if they cannot vote justification, these statements that they spout. When you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is that frustration that's make you want to shout. When you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. Before they misuse out, teapot sell out and digs out. If it you, vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. All of them, vote them out. Stick your finger and vote them out. Them on the system, vote them out. Vote them out in Scarborough and in Port of Spain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out in Komuto and in Larobe. Let's put our country together again. People must come first, citizens by right. None of we are worse, yellow, black or white. Food, shelter and clothes, free movement and speech. A garden that grows, and one love for each. If it is that injustice is what they always show. When you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is that avarice is all they seem to know. When you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is their politics, it's just a puppy show. When elections day come, all bandits must go. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy.